working right. There's always something technological to try and get over, but nonetheless, great to be with you. Meteorologist Matt Noyce, 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. And, we wanted to come back up with you here and just keep you updated on what's going on with the storm overall. One of the things I'm going to do is make sure that we are actually broadcasting live on our live streaming network. Let's see if I can make that change over. And let's see if we've got sound that's going on there as well. I think we do. So I think we're in good shape there. So welcome. Good to have you here, whether you're watching on social media. And if you are, please skip forward to be watching live to ensure that you're seeing the latest stuff. You could watch the whole thing if you want, but this sometimes does go on for a little while. Same thing if you're watching on our streaming network. We are so happy to have launched this. You can see behind me all the different ways that you can watch. This is New England's first and only weather network. You know, Danielle and I always felt like, as weather nuts who grew up in New England, we always wished New England had its own weather channel, for lack of a better term, right? And so then we realized when we launched 1 Degree Outside, a digital first weather company, it was a chance to do exactly that. So as you come on board, we appreciate you one and all. You've downloaded the app, which is totally free, and you've rated it 5 stars. We appreciate that. You continue to send us updates on social media. Our handle is easy. It's at 1 Degree Outside, the number 1 Degree Outside. Of course, you can always send your reports and photos right in through the app and the Send to Us tab as well. And you're going to see a little bit of all of that coming together here. You're also going to see some of the things that we've been working on behind the scenes over the course of the last several months as we've gotten ready for winter, so we can share with you a look at the storm that you just can't find anywhere else, right? Because we want to be able to have some of the professional tools, but at the same time have the freedom, the flexibility, and the time to be able to kind of do these deep dives into weather, and that's what we're going to do here. So if you're currently watching on a little small device and you want to watch on your big TV, on the smart TV, open up the YouTube app and search for 1 Degree Outside Network, and you'll be able to see us there. If you're on the PC, well, you're probably already watching this maybe through social media or what have you, but you can always find us on that 24/7 live stream network at 1degreeoutside.live. And then, of course, in our app, right atop the home screen, you're able to click through to it. So you say, he sure is talking a lot. I was giving a chance for more and more folks to hop on board because as many folks see this on social media and start to join us, I think at some point soon, Danielle's going to put an alert out on the app as well so that folks who are on the app will be able to see this come through. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start out with an overview on where we stand on the storm right now. I will go ahead and switch things over so you can get a little bit better view of the maps rather than getting a view of me. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. A reminder that if you would like to submit your own photos, it's easy to do. Our community gallery, best way to do it, easiest and quickest way to do it, through the Send to Us tab of the app. It's the far right one at the bottom of the app home screen. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the satellite radar composite. Couple of things going on here. So you certainly can see the fact that the storm continues to organize down to our south. It is not a long duration storm. The back edge is already coming through portions of eastern New York State and eastern Pennsylvania, and it will be through us by the time we get later on in this evening. If you are watching on our streaming network right now at 1degreeoutside.live or on your smart TV, you also see in the upper left corner some of the updated alert maps that are going by. We try to keep those updated not only for things like winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, but also airport weather warnings that are out right now. You'll see that there as well. And at the bottom of the screen, you'll likely see the crawl that shows up. We do that for pretty much any type of warning. Again, kind of the flexibility of being a weather network. Also, if you're watching on the live stream right now at 1degreeoutside.live or by tapping on in the app or watching on your smart TV, you'll notice on the left, Boston and Maine Live webcams that go through. You can find Boston and Maine Live on YouTube. In fact, a lot of you have. And it's very relaxing to watch the cameras go by. But we loved it so much, we talked with Michael McCormick, who put the channel together, and said, would you mind if we put those cameras on? And so Michael was 100% on board. He's been so supportive of what we do here. And thank you very much to Michael and Boston, Maine cams. In the lower left corner, it's what I call Weather Geeks Corner. I say that, of course, with a lot of love and affection because in that lower left corner are constantly updating real-time maps. And they're the ones that Danielle and I really felt like we would want to see if we were watching a weather network. So there's some stuff in there that's kind of standard, but then there's other things in there like road conditions or sea surface temperatures, wave heights, things of that nature. always updated. Sunny days, stormy days, it doesn't matter. We've got it all for you right there in Weather Geek's Corner. All right, speaking of Weather Geek, let's geek out together and see what's going on. Center of low pressure now coming across the mid-Atlantic, an inverted trough, an upside-down trough that goes to the north of the storm. But we've got our own coastal front that's come into play. You can bet we're going to dive into that. And that coastal front going into this thing, we knew it was going to be a matter of whether or not it actually lined up where we expected it to. The answer is not entirely, and I think it's pretty important that we're honest about that too, right? So you can actually see where it was earlier this morning here on radar. Notice that you had in the very early going this morning, about 6:30, 7 o'clock, a very fine line of snow that was developing out of Rhode Island going in around the 495 belt. This made the morning commute for folks at 7:30 in the morning one that had snow flying in it, and frankly, earlier than expected at the 495 corridor. We were waiting on the shield of snow to come in from the west, but this one snuck up from the south. You know what that was? That was the leading edge to the coastal front. That was nature showing its hand. The thing of it is, it really hasn't moved much. So it's snowing even inside of that coastal front, but the snow accumulation rates are a lot less inside that coastal front than they are outside of it. Here's a little bit closer view of the radar here, and you can see, yep, there's your rain snow line sitting over Norwood. Norwood's 33 degrees with a north wind, but we're still talking about rain that's coming down. I mean, that's as close, that's as cold of a rain as you're going to get, obviously, right? You get down to 32, you get a freezing rain. The pink is where more and more sleet's coming into play. We expected going into this event that sleet line may already be up near the Massachusetts Turnpike. It's taking its sweet time, although those of you near the Turnpike in eastern Massachusetts have already reported in that you've had some sleet that's been coming down as well. Let's shift the view a little bit, and what we can do is zoom in a little bit more to the Boston Metro, and you can see, yeah, there's the pink where you've got a snow, sleet, even freezing rain combo that's coming down right now, and that's essentially places like Milford and Millbury. Then when you start getting north of the Pike, you're more into the snow. So the concern here, and this is something that we've been kind of addressing with our private forecast partners and clients throughout the course of the late morning and the midday, is that because that coastal front never penetrated much farther north than I-95, it's still snowing at Hanscom Air Force Base. It's still snowing at I-95. We're going to take a look at some of those observations and some of the tools that we look at behind the scenes coming up in a minute. I'm going to share a web browser window with you so you're able to actually see literally what we dive into. Shift the view down to the New York City area, and it's been raining all across southern Connecticut, Merritt Parkway, I-95. Notice where you've got the pink. That's where it's been sleeting now. So sleet has arrived into Hartford. It's really cut back on some of the accumulation rates. And then you're back over to snow. The farther north you go, not only northern Connecticut, but the snow's been coming down steady in western Mass. Skywarn Spotter Network, hats off to you. You are always keeping us posted. We have a great relationship and partnership with the Skywarn Spotter Network. That is the amateur ham radio operators and folks who are weather trained. And, you know, it really helps out during severe weather because they know exactly what they're looking at with regard to shelf clouds, wall clouds, funnels, all that. But in the wintertime, it's really helpful, too, because it allows us to get eyes and ears all over all 6 states in New England. So just getting a report from Skywarn that Otis, Massachusetts, has 6 inches of snow now. Now, that's in the higher elevations, Berkshire County. So, I mean, you got to be up there a bit. But nonetheless, it's more like 2.2 inches when you get down around Westfield. So that's another spot. Springfield's right about that same amount, right about 2 inches or so. Numerous cars have been stuck on the hills in Chicopee, including a tractor trailer on Granby Road. This is a slick snow. It's a high moisture content snow, so that keeps it slick, certainly. Holden, Massachusetts, checks in with an inch. Ashfield out in Franklin County's got about 1.6. Enfield, Connecticut is at about, 1 inch so far. Of course, the snow's still coming down across the Capital District of New York, and it has been coming down like crazy in northern New England. We knew this was going to be a good one for ski country, particularly from, let's say, the Whites down through the Lakes region, and then running into southern Maine. Snowing to beat the band right now, and we will qualify that a little bit more accurately here in just a second. But bottom line, Maine Turnpike, I-93, I-89, Route 16, and then running all the way up into Vermont, right through the Champlain Valley. This is a winter storm condition for our roadways out there. Farther south you go, the more the chemical treatments have been holding up a little bit. You can see some of the snow still coming down, too, across the North Country. Snow reports where you see those little stars that show up, and we'll take a look at some of those in a little bit as well. And then the snow's much lighter up in northern Maine. Temperatures right now are going to reflect that coastal front. You'll see exactly where it is. 41 degrees at Plymouth. We're in the 40s at Marshfield as well. 36 in Boston. Boston's an interesting one because the wind has been very, very light. For a time, it's been northerly. In fact, for more of the day, it's been northerly than it has southeasterly. And then you jump back into the colder air. You're ready to zoom in a little bit? Let's get a closer look at that coastal front. You'll be able to see how little progress it's made, which is a problem from a forecast standpoint from Hanscom to Beverly, all right? Again, you've got some warming going on aloft. That helps because it reduces your accumulation rate. If it weren't for that, this would be an absolute, complete, just a blowout of a storm that'd be going on just south of that line, just north of that coastal front, I should say. That'd be an area that'd be watching, and you'd be looking at, maybe a foot of snow. Someone's going to get that. I don't think it's going to be those areas immediately north of the coastal front because of the warming that's going on aloft. You can also see the breeze starting to pick up right along the coastline, but it's not by much. These are wind gusts. When you get to Beverly and Boston, it's 6 and 8 miles an hour. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be the case. When we looked at this thing from, let's say, a day out, it looked like we'd probably get that breeze that's over Plymouth and Marshfield coming into the North Shore. Without that happening, you're just simply not going to get the warm air to come into some place like the I-495 corridor in the Merrimack Valley from Haverhill down to Lawrence. It's not going to happen. You might be able to get some of the warming aloft and try to get some sleet to mix in, and that would cut back a bit on accumulations. But this is a winter storm that we're going into for the afternoon and evening if you're watching this northwest of Boston. Visibility oftentimes does a really great job telling the story because you can see where that snow is of a consistency that it's adding up faster. So in the areas in gray, that's where the snow's adding up a little bit quicker. See what I mean? It's just outside of I-95, but certainly even before you get to 495, inside of 495, you've got that too. I think I can zoom this in a little bit more and show you what's going on in southern New England so you get a good view kind of zoomed into 95 and 495. And there it is, half-mile visibility at Hanscom, half-mile at Lawrence. So you start coming down around Waltham, you start breaking out of that. You're into a much wetter consistency of the snow. Logan's got a 7-mile visibility, right? Norwood's 2.5. Even Worcester now has gone to 2 miles. How come? Sleet mixed in Worcester. So with the sleet mixing in, it's cut back on the accumulation rates, at least for the time being. But you're still snow and half-mile visibility at Westfield, at Chicopee, and your 1/4 mile at Route 2. Route 2, you're going to be one of the big beneficiaries, but now it looks like probably even eastern Middlesex County, northwest Essex County is going to squeeze into this. Southern New Hampshire, 1/4 mile at Nashua. It is snowing hard up and down the Everett Turnpike right now. Predicted radar, watch the rain snow line not move, pretty much, right? I mean, essentially, there it is set up on the northwest end of I-95 as we get into 515 or so. The farther north that you go, the more into the snow that you get. The heaviest precipitation going to be happening between now and 9 p.m., but the absolute heaviest will be between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. So if you're going to snow, if you're going to be on that area north and west of Boston, central Mass, southern New Hampshire, Mass-New Hampshire border, you're going to snow at 1 inch per hour at 6, 7, and 8 p.m. The only saving grace will be in parts of Essex County, perhaps even all the way to 495, where you start to get some of the sleet that mixes in, cuts back on the accumulation rates, and instead of 1 inch per hour, you're just sleeting like crazy mixed with snow. The farther south you come, we are going to wait and watch as the snow line drops southeast again. So this is at 8:15. Where's the snow line now? Closing back in on Boston. Between 7 and 10 p.m., the snow line drops down through the city, comes down to the suburbs just south of town. The temperature starts to drop. You drop below freezing after about 10 or 11 p.m. Even in some place like Boston, you coat everything over. You get a bit of snow here on the backside of the storm, and you freeze it up. And you're going to do that probably down to the South Shore as well, for that matter. We think that you're going to get at least a coating and a bit of an ice up that occurs probably as far south as someplace like Scituate, maybe Duxbury, Plymouth, by the time we get to early tomorrow morning. So that's kind of the way it shakes out between now and about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. when it all comes to an end. Of course, it ends from west to east, so it'll end a little bit quicker the farther west you are. Do we need to update this map? We did update it already in accordance with what we've been seeing with that coastal front slamming the brakes on. So have we updated it sufficiently? We think so. Danielle and I were looking at this, and is it a big update from what we did, yesterday and what we did this morning? Not a big update. A couple of things that we've done, just to be completely transparent. When you get around northern Connecticut, we've expanded the 2 to 4 south a bit because of the fact that we hung on to snow all the way through Hartford. But we know it's not a very effective accumulating snow. It's not piling up all that quickly. When you come into the areas north and west of 495, this is where we still expect there to be a really sharp uptick in amounts. And this is where, frankly, we could still be wrong, right? So it's interesting because it's been snowing for many, many hours around Worcester, but for the number of hours it's been snowing, it's not like there's a ton of snow that's on the ground. You've got a couple of inches. So we really do think that that 4 to 6 at Worcester probably is going to turn out pretty decent because of the sleet mixing in. And it's what we're banking on happening, even if the coastal front's not going to move up to the north and west. We think the mild air aloft, 2,000 feet off the ground or so, probably will. And so that's why we've put lower amounts in through Essex County or the 95 to 495 corridor with the expectation sleet mixes in. Just keep in mind, from a travel standpoint, from a treatment standpoint, that's a pain in the neck when you have the sleet mixing in because it's little balls of ice essentially that come down, right? And they can pack in. So there's going to be some scraping that'll have to happen in these areas. Now, in some spots, the chemical treatments have been holding up, but we think when that burst comes in, particularly 6 to 8 p.m., that may not be the case. Then you start getting into the 8 to 12 as you make your way into central and western Middlesex County. You come into northern Worcester County, come into northwestern Massachusetts around Greenfield or Coleraine. You come across the state line, much of New Hampshire away from the immediate coast, very likely to end up in that same 8 to 12 inch zone. We think western Massachusetts, you're going to end up at that 8 to 12, basically in Berkshire County. When you start getting down to the Pioneer Valley, you saw it already when we saw that southern New England viewpoint, but you're looking at least what will be probably on the order of 2 to 4 and 4 to 6, straddling either side of the Connecticut border and then picking up to 6 to 8 as you make your way from Amherst to Sunderland. Farther to the north, we think there should be a 12 plus that shows up across the high terrain of the southern greens. Frankly, we also think there probably will be one somewhere in central New Hampshire as well between Laconia and Manchester, but take that for what it's worth. We didn't put that there on a map. You can see we do have another one in southern portions of Maine, and then the farther north you go, the amounts drop off because you get less in a way of moisture. By the way, I'm making this a monologue so far, but we got nothing but time. If you watched these live streams during severe weather, I end up making it a dialogue. That's the whole beautiful part about doing a live stream. We have chat features, and I'll let you know now so you can get on it if you want to. If you're watching on your smart TV, it's a little bit harder to do. If you're watching at 1degreeoutside.live, you'll see there's a chat that's built in right under the video. You can contribute there. If you're watching on any of our social media platforms, you can contribute your comments and questions in on the social media platform. I aggregate it all right here. I can see what you put in there. If you're watching on the app, ironically, that's one of the more difficult ways to get a chat involved. So sorry about that. We're working on that. You're looking at the IT guy. So we're working on getting that integrated as well. See what I mean about tonight? Temperatures dropping down below freezing. I think Boston goes down below 33. I think Boston's very likely to bottom out probably somewhere around 29 by the time we get to morning, which is why I say some treatment's going to end up being needed during the overnight into the early hours of tomorrow morning. If you don't have the app yet, just want to make sure that you've got it. It is completely free, 5 stars. Folks are loving it, and I'm so happy about that, and so is Danielle. Not only can you watch this stream there from that big box that you see at the top, but the other thing about it is you can get all the hourly information, 14-day forecast. The only thing that I do caution folks toward is just keep in mind, it's our app, and we're proud of it, and we pick the data, and we like the data that goes in there. But at the same time, it's almost impossible to manually edit all 1,000 cities and towns across New England. So we always encourage you to watch our video product, see what we're doing here on social media. That's where you're going to find kind of straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And I don't mind calling myself that in this particular instance. All right, let's go ahead and start analyzing a little bit. What I want to do here now, and again, we're going to get to the interaction and the chat in a moment, but let me at least set the stage for you. I talked about how in Western Mass, we've got a number of spots that are snowy. There you go. This is Chicopee. It is full-on winter storm conditions in Chicopee right now. Up around Holyoke, let's see if we can find a camera. Yeah, there you go. Winter storm conditions, that's in West Springfield right now. You come farther to the south, and you can see that we're dealing with some of the snow that's on the on-ramps and off-ramps in West Springfield. This is where we're chemically treated right now. Things are doing a little bit better at the Columbus ramp, so we made some progress there anyway. You come into Sturbridge, look at the difference. Wow, look at the difference that it makes come east. So Warren, we've got a little terrain, a little higher terrain, a little elevation, and that means that we've got a lot more snow on the sides of the road, the chemical treatment, all that's holding it together. Once you start making your way into Worcester, now again, the chemical treatment makes a big difference. I didn't switch over to the cameras. See, I told you, technical once in a while. It's all on me. It's all on me. There's your cameras again. Now we got the chemically treated roads. I was telling you about Millbury. You poor things. You miss Western Mass. There you go. Let me show you now. There's Chicopee. Get yourself off camera, noise. My goodness. You come farther north and look at that. Winter storm conditions at Holyoke. I feel like I need to give Western Mass a little more love again because I didn't show the camera for you. That's just not fair. There you go. All right, Deerfield. There's your winter storm conditions. Again, it's slushy, it's greasy where it's been treated. But here's the thing. Deerfield, Mass, it's been snowing all day pretty much, like since mid-morning. Look at the median. Look at the grass. This is what I'm talking about. It's not like it's really accumulating quickly. It's snowing a lot, and it's impressive, and it's slick, and you got to be super careful, but it's not like it's really accumulating all that quickly. Let's come in on 495 and see what's happening here. We'll make our way from Southborough, where now the highway is completely covered. So again, I do really love to show these. Now, we don't have here at 1 degree outside, we don't have a vehicle that we can go drive around in the snow and and show you just what it's like out there on the roadways. I hope you're okay with us not driving around in the snow and showing you that we're in the car seat as we go around. I hope this does the trick for you. When you make your way up 495 and you come up in toward Middlesex County, Westford, the treated areas stay in black but slushy. The median's got the snow cover on it, all right? This is, again, another example of what I mean. This is Andover, all right? Andover, we're holding up, and it's slick, but notice the median. I mean, it's been snowing for hours now in Andover. It's just not adding up that much. So a lot of that has to do, just so you know, with what's going on up high in the sky. And if you've got warm air aloft, then you're not going to get very effective snow generation and snow accumulation. Here we are at the Jubilee Yacht Club in Beverly. It has been snowing in Beverly. Does it look like it? Not really. You can see the snow in the air, and that's about it, right? We come down the coast a little ways. Let's see if I can get another live one. This is Nahant. Oh, there's the surf cam. Yeah, you get some snow that's on the lens, all right? But look at the roads at Saugus. There you are, Route 1. You're doing fine. You don't have those same winter conditions. Again, this is what I mean. The coastal front may not have technically cleared through Saugus or Somerville, which you're seeing. Let me slide it back onto the screen. What you're seeing is wet, right? There's no accumulation on the grass here at Somerville. You start to make your way out to Waltham. What do you got? A little bit of a coating that's on the grass. You can see where the cars are coming from the north on the left side of the image there, right? They've got more snow on them. And that is the difference. It's not that there's a big surface temperature difference. It's more that you've got a difference aloft. And so Weston is mostly wet right now. Weston Tolls, same exact deal. Then the farther south and east you go, the more you're just dealing with kind of wet roads at this point. So let me take just a moment and take a break here, because what I want to do is I do want to make sure that I cover with you some of your questions that you're asking. One thing I'll do is I'll put up behind me the radar so that at least you have something fun to look at besides me when I bring myself back out here. But this will be your opportunity. Let's go to a New England radar. And this is our opportunity to kind of touch base, to ask questions, to see where we're at. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look through some of the comments that we have already. 3 inches in Holden at 900 feet. It's gone back to all snow. All right, excellent. All snow in southern Franklin County. Start about 9:30 in the morning. Get this. Get this. Southern Franklin County out in western Mass. Started at 9:30 in the morning. No more than an inch of snow on the ground right now, says Hadley Grass. Thank you for letting us know about that. Bill Collins said had sleet about an hour ago in Holden, Massachusetts. There'll be more of that mixes in as the mild air comes in aloft. Heavy rain in Beverly. Thanks, Dan. Just got to see that camera. Really good to hear the ground truth with that as well. All snow in Newton, New Hampshire. Yeah, Diana, you're in it to win it, aren't you? I don't know if you saw it already. We'll go back to it again. But you're going to be right into that sweet spot for the snow, 8 to 12. Probably by the time we're done for you. You're very close to it anyway. Newton's going to be right on that line. Looks like a miserable drive out in Springfield. Yeah, you're right, Roberta. It is. Your son's driving out there. Hopefully he's taking it easy. The good news, as you saw, is that at least the chemically treated highways and roadways are staying at least slushy rather than completely snow covered. We have a pattern in western Mass, says Hadley Grass, is often a finger of warmth that travels up the river valley from Connecticut to southern Franklin County, and we always have less snow in the surrounding area. You're absolutely right on that too. And we could take a look at that. If I bring that up, see if I can switch over and show you the temperature plot. So it's funny because you can actually see it on the winterized radar here too, right? You get a little bit of that mix that starts to try and creep up the Pioneer Valley. And usually we do that with a southerly wind, right? We don't have a southerly wind today. So with a northerly wind, Hadley Grass, you normally will cold drain all the way down the Pioneer Valley and stay maybe, for example, when I say this, you're going to say, yeah, we do. You may stay freezing rain while everybody around you goes over to rain, right? But in these rain snow events, It's interesting. Elevation makes a huge difference for you. That's the first thing. The second thing is, remember we were talking about some of that warmth at like 2,000 feet? We do have a lot of hilly terrain in both northeast and northwest Connecticut. So even aloft, even off the ground, you still can see sometimes a little bit easier transport of some of that to come in. Brandon says, how's Woburn looking? Brandon, I will answer that question directly for you. You ready? Let's do it. Let me swing you over. I'm going to pull it up and let's go back over to our cams. Let's see exactly how Woburn's doing. See, this is the beauty of interactive, right? This is when we work together, and it's you're part of the team, and I'm part of the team, and Danielle is going to come in here too, and she's part of the team, and we follow your lead. That's what it becomes. I'll give you the info, and then we follow your lead. So, look, Burlington right now, there's your live cam from Mass DOT. You've got slush right now, but folks are moving along. You certainly see plenty of blacktop, right? Don't take it too fast and you'll be all right. You get inside it, you get to Lexington, and it's even better looking. You get just a little farther north and west, and it's just a little bit sloppier in Bedford right now, running along Route 3, all right? So these are the areas around Woburn that we've got for you, although right in Woburn proper, I got to give a huge tip of the cap. Aaron Perry is our data scientist here at 1 Degree Outside. And so he actually built for us this precipitation type radar. It's our own. It's our own. He and I kind of brainstormed together on how we could create something that's better than most of what you'd find. And so this is what we put together, and he did the coding. He did a great job with this. But you can see that rain snow line sitting right at Woburn right now. How are we doing that, by the way? I shouldn't give away all of our secrets, should I, Aaron? Well, you know, let's put it this way. We're leveraging all of the modern technology to see what's going on both at the cloud layer and what's happening down at the ground for that matter as well. Again, you go deep into the snow area, you go, oh, it must be terrible at Chelmsford. Well, it's not great, but it's not terrible right now at Route 3 to Lowell Connector, right? I mean, it's winter conditions, but it's not absolutely terrible. So I suppose there's some good news for you there. Let's see what else you have in the chat here because I want to make sure that I take care of folks. Claudine, thanks for forecasting for all of New England. Claudine, you're darn right. Absolutely. We're proud to do that. And make sure that you tell all your friends and fam. If you missed it earlier, just a short time ago, we did go up to northern New England. We're going to do that again coming up in a second. Michelle, we love you guys. Met you at the Ham Expo. This is going to be big. Yeah, we were so thrilled to speak at the Ham Radio Operators Exposition. That was wonderful. Just so you folks know, if you don't know about Ham Radio Operators are a huge part of the Skywarn Spotter Network that keeps us informed with eyes and ears on what's going on in terms of weather, both during severe weather, winter storms. So thank you to our Ham Radio Operators. Amesbury, Paula says, is it snowing? You know what that means, Paula. That means I'm going to have to go back to the maps. Let's just answer the question straight out. If we zoom in a little bit, I can tell you it's snowing, but it should be a pretty wet snow. Here's the view right now. Stand by. Here's the view in Newburyport. See the ground? Look down by the lighthouse there. All right, you've got just a little bit of a coating on the ground, and even the parking lot that's there behind the U.S. Coast Guard station is right now just showing a little bit of slush. That's in Newburyport. Amesbury, you can gather, would be probably a little bit worse, but not terrible. Then when you get to Haverhill, oh, look at that. That's just snowed out. No, it's not snowed out. That's just an error on the camera. There we go. There's Andover. So you got to figure if Andover looks like that, Amesbury is not quite as bad overall, right? We're not quite as bad. The farther north you go, we go up to Hampton Beach. That camera's out. That's too bad. How about Manchester? Can we get, oh, there you go. There's the snow coming down. That's in a Peregrine Falcon little enclave. That's why it's not snowing on the camera. But it's a winter wonderland out in the Queen City right now in Manchester. That's for sure. By the way, talk about winter wonderland. Farther to the north, you ready? Here we go. This is out at Lake Winnisquam. Yeah, lake's not frozen over yet, but the dock sure is, isn't it? 100%. You come up into the Upper Valley, let's get out to Dartmouth College. Again, winter wonderland type stuff. Farther off to the north and west, if you're traveling through Vermont, headed up to Rutland. Thank you, WCAX, the TV station out of Vermont. They put their camera online, and we're happy that they do. Winter wonderland in Rutland, for that matter, as well. Farther to the north, there's a Vermont covered bridge cam, Waitsfield, Vermont. What an idyllic scene. Now, that's New England. Hold on, let's get back on it. That's New England winter right there, isn't it? That is fantastic. What's it like up in Burlington right now? Let's take a look. Champlain Valley, coming down gentle. Chemically treated roadways are better in the lower terrain than they are in the higher terrain. There's the Mount Mansfield cam. All right, You got slick roads on I-89 when you're coming up by Camel's Hump. There's no question about that. Anything out of Maine? Now, a lot of these are down in Maine right now. Come on, Maine, let's get those cameras going. There's Dover Foxcroft for you. Now playing Wicked and Zootopia 2. I like that. It's a good day for a movie, don't you think? All right, let's get back over to the chat and see what else. Oh, I see a Danielle coming in the studio. Hi, Danielle.
So the only thing with the audio.
Oh, only thing with the audio, yes.
It was a little low. I bumped it up, so I'm not sure if this is on. I actually think it's just your mic.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
both on. But if I join you.
Okay, cool. So hopefully folks can hear okay. But let me unmute yours. Welcome aboard. Great to have you.
Hello.
If you folks are having any trouble hearing, just please do let us know in the chat. We appreciate it. All right, let me go ahead and refresh some of our chat messages and see what we've got that's coming in latest from everybody. December 2nd, a lot of them here. A lot of you that are on 1degreeoutside.live. Appreciate it. Beachside, good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. We love that you love it. That's great. Oh, this is wonderful. Be heard, be healed. Just found you guys on your new platforms yesterday. Talk about good timing. So excited. I remember meeting Matt in 2005, 2006.
Wow.
You didn't even know me back then.
No, I didn't.
I was just a boy.
20 years ago.
Just a boy. That's right. When he came to New Covenant Christian School in Marlborough, Mass. I remember that visit. Do you know that?
Do you really?
Yep. Always reliable, always more accurate. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. I'll stop because I don't like to go on and on about that. That's very nice of you. Dave Hayes, oh, your volume just got way better. That's all you. High five.
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks for taking care of that. Where'd you turn it up? Right here?
Yeah, but I turned both up.
Okay.
Significantly.
All right. Hey, like I said earlier, you're looking at IT. This is this is it right here. So this is great. Just shy of 3 inches in Florence, Mass. Snowing moderate to occasionally heavier, says Dave Hayes. Fantastic. That's great. Oh, Danielle, you were jumping in on the chat too. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Your radar's spot on in Windsor, Connecticut. Temp was 28 this morning, now 30 with sleet and rain. Excellent, Chris. Thank you. 1.5 inches on the ground, Danielle, in Windsor, Connecticut, and it's over to sleet and rain. So it looks like that's going to be pretty accurate on the snowfall accumulation.
Yes, which is good. The next one down, I know
we could use that.
Exactly. Said my son is leaving at 3, driving to Springfield.
Yes.
North Reading. That's going to be a little tricky.
I know. What was that? 1:41, 4 minutes ago. Hopefully you saw it, but if you didn't, we can answer that for you right now. But bottom line, let's go back over to the cams and take you real quick to those and show you what's happening. But
speed limits restricted.
Okay, what's it down to 40?
Yep.
Yeah, they always go down to 40 during these storms.
Yep.
So the problem, let me show you, is out around Palmer, you come into the hilly terrain at Ludlow, and you can see it's definitely winter storm driving. It's not totally covered, but it's sloppy, it's slushy, and then you're down to just tire treads when you get into the high terrain at Ludlow by exit 54, Route 21. All right, so that is kind of the worst, I would say, of the conditions between North Reading and Springfield. So just keep in mind, and it's not a surprise, you probably figured that anyway, if you're traveling out that way, that you were going to have some issues going out through that part of the state, but that makes perfect sense. Danielle, let's bring you in. What do you get to share with us here?
Did you see the new SPC? They just put out a mezzo a couple of
I saw it, but I didn't have a chance to read it. Tell us about it.
Heavy snow.
SPC, by the way, Storm Prediction Center, Norman, Oklahoma. They forecast for severe thunderstorms, but they also like to get in. They feel kind of bored, I think, in the winter, so they get in on heavy precipitation in the winter. Please.
So they pretty much extended a large area from southern and eastern New York, stretching all of southern New England away from that, the sleet and the mix combo, and are saying 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates. So right where that coastal band setting up north and west of that.
So I-95 to 495?
That is included in the their little circular area.
Yep.
Basically through concerning heavy snow, right on through, the afternoon to early evening.
Yeah.
Which we were looking at.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, and the question is this coming off the rails, right? Is this going to be something where the entire forecast comes off the rails from I-95 to 495? We think that certainly at 495 we're going to end up doing it. So far, based on these cams, though, it really does look like it's a very poorly accumulating snow when you get around those areas. Are you seeing something different?
No, I think they were just saying that, if you look in western Connecticut, right?
Yep.
So as it fills in over the course of late afternoon to
sure.
early evening.
Let's go ahead and bring the radar up so we can actually see it while you're talking about it. All right. So we'll go ahead and we've got all right. I've got it up here.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I'm stepping in here. I didn't even read it, but they're just saying, in terms of the sleet mix combo, just north and west of that, there'd be 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates because of the mid-level frontage.
Right.
Emphasis.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Nothing totally surprising. I think
Yep.
it's just that little zone
Yep.
that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yep, and one of the things that we were mentioning right before you hopped in is the fact that I think it's also going to have to do with the temperature aloft,
Yep.
right? And so what we're seeing is that even in areas that are cold enough to snow, the snow is in some spots in eastern Mass a really, really wet consistency that's not adding up as much. But it's still going to be messy when the temperature drops back below freezing, or in some spots it already still is below freezing.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We can take a look together at the radar across New England and loop it through over the last 6 hours or so. And there was initially that small band of precipitation that started up coming out of Rhode Island off Narragansett Bay. That was the first indication of a surge of warmer air that was coming into play. And then it wasn't long after that we ended up seeing more that was kind of sliding in on top of us. Let me see if I can go out and play this out. You know what I'm going to do? Danielle, I should put this into analysis mode so we can actually see some of what's going on. Let me see if I can do that.
Mic's off. Yeah, I think maybe in
Your mic's off?
no, it's on, but everyone's saying it sounds like the mic is off. Dave says it sounds like it's much lower. I don't know if it's. I think it's picking up on your microphone that's clipped to your tie.
Oh, son of a
It's not
gun.
Picking up on these. I don't know if
Well,
it's
let
OBS.
me see. Hold on. No, it wouldn't be. Let's see. No, 1 and 2. Yeah, no, you're right on that. Let's see here. Let's turn you up. Keep talking.
Hi.
Keep
Hi,
talking.
everybody.
Keep
Checking
talking.
the audio here. Checking 1 2 3 1 2 3.
I think I fixed you.
You did?
I think I fixed you.
Thanks.
Guys, let us know in the chat. Did I fix Danielle's microphone there? We're
And
gonna have
if
a lot
so,
of
I want you need to. Tell
we're gonna
me
have
your
a lot of recalibrating to do afterwards if I did.
okay.
But yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll see in the chat whether or not I fixed you or not. I'd like to think that I did, and hopefully I did. Let's see. We've got there it is. Yes, okay, fixed. Very good. All right,
Thank
excellent.
you.
41 and raining in Pembroke, Massachusetts. Snow pretty steady in Londonderry, New Hampshire. Don't you all just love hanging out with Danielle and Matt on a stormy day? Still coming down in Leominster, 2 inches so far. All right, good, excellent. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead and take a look together. What were we going to do? I lost my train of thought, but that's all right. Let's go ahead and we'll take a look at what's going on the radar. That was, oh yes, we were doing an analysis.
I was gonna
That's
say,
right.
I feel like I threw you off. Can I have your cell phone for but a second?
Oh, sure. You got to
Thank
make
you
a
so
call?
much. Yep.
I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little analysis here. We'll get rid of that winter storm warning up in Vermont. So here are some of the reports that are coming in from the Sky One Spotter Network. We'll get an idea for exactly what we're looking at. Bottom line is that we've got some reports of freezing rain and icy conditions around Taunton going on right now. We've got reports of some freezing rain at the Norwood Airport. So that is another area that's got some icing that's been going on. Icing being reported all the way down to New Bedford Airport. That was just shortly before 1, so it was a while ago now. But let's see, current observations out of that area, I bet haven't changed all that much. Let's see where we're at. Oh, no, well, New Bedford certainly has 43 degrees, but when you start getting up around Norwood, you're still at 33. You haven't really changed too much there. So you're still getting some pockets of icing that are going on. Farther to the north and west, here's a report that's come in now out of Worcester Airport at 1.8 inches of snow. When you get around Billerica, Tewksbury, you've got 1.2 inches of snow being reported. And here's the area that we expect is going to go up over 8, but as of 12:30, Fitchburg only had 1.6, 1.8 in Gardner. That's I think that's actually behind where we thought we would be in northern Worcester County.
I definitely think it is.
Yeah.
That was a half hour. Yeah.
Yeah, these are pretty
it's
recent.
Been snowing for a,
Right.
for a while.
These are pretty recent. And folks, if you're just tuning in, this goes back to one of the things I was talking about earlier, which is the warmth that we have aloft is definitely contributing to some of this, where you're getting poorer accumulating snow rates that are happening right now. I do want to swing the radar over to Gray, Maine. I want to give some love and attention here again to what's happening in much of Maine and New Hampshire. So this is where some of our heaviest snow has been coming down, and frankly, some of our best accumulating snow. And I say that because you've got cold enough air that you're not getting that same kind of cap of the cloud like you're getting farther south. So you start getting reports like this. 4 inches of snow in Meredith right now that's come down. 3 inches when you get into Albany, New Hampshire, up in Carroll County. 4.5 inches in Freedom. You come over into Maine along the Maine Turnpike. You're at 3.6 right now near Green, Maine. Getting closer to Lewiston and into Lewiston, you're at 4 inches. Up into the mountains of Maine, we've whoops, hey, how you doing? Let's see, there we go. Up into the mountains of Maine, we've got now 3.7 inches on the ground in Madrid. And then we can shift the view up into Vermont. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to probably change our radar view.
Sorry.
Yep, that's okay. What you got going on?
That was just a delayed SPS.
Okay, all right, okay, no problem. All right, it freaked me out only a little bit because That's the sound I used to have for my tornado warnings. So yeah,
you're like, wait, we spun up a tornado.
I'm absolutely, trained to jump all over that sound. So, all right, let's see if I can get us over to snow and ice coverage in our road conditions. So. Here we go. So basically, you can see road conditions have some measure of snow on them across most of central southern New England and interior southern New England for that matter as well. Although you know that when you get along I-95 and when you get to 128 and going out, toward the North Shore, we've been looking at the cameras and it's a good deal wet rather than icy for you, which is good news. It's all wet roads the farther south and east that you go for that matter as well. Road temperatures, we can take a little bit of a look here and see exactly what the pavement temperature is like. It's 32 degrees right now when you come onto the North Shore. It's 36 degrees when you come onto the South Shore. And it really, the trick is when you come out through the Boston area, right? So if we go up to, let's say, Lexington, it's a 30-degree road surface temperature. When you come out to 495 at Framingham, it's a 30-degree road surface temperature. When you come out to Sturbridge, it's a 29-degree road surface temperature. And when you get out to the Pioneer Valley, similarly, about 29 degrees. Berkshire County, as we get out toward Lee and we come along the Mass Turnpike, you've got a 25-degree road temp. So chemicals will do the trick in all of these spots until snow rate overwhelms them. But in terms of rock salt, things of that nature, that really is only going to take care of you when you're running in the 20s to around 30 degrees. So it's no longer effective the farther west that you go.
Looks like we've changed. You may have talked about this already in Bedford to mixing with some sleet now. The correlation coefficient. Sleet.
Good.
Yeah, we've changed to sleet. So.
You mentioned correlation coefficient. Why don't you give us a little overview? Hold on a second now.
No.
Yes. Hold on a second. Whoops. Let me see if I can do this for us. Get over to the radar. Let's just do this the old-fashioned way. Here we go. The old-fashioned way. All right, let me wipe off. It's beautiful. I put the values on there. Let's see.
That's okay. Someone might want to see those.
They might. And there we go. Okay, so here is what we normally notice. It says at the top, debris detector. But Danielle, there is a second kind of use for correlation coefficient. Tell us a little bit about it.
So when the radar is looking up in the cloud, it's kind of looking to measure how uniform the targets are. If it's a raindrop, if it's snowflakes coming down. So the oranges that you see on the map here, that line that's pretty much from Worcester stretching. Oh yeah, that's nice. Back up here. Woo! Look, it's different than pointing like when I'm standing up on the green screen. But so the sleet line essentially is where that orange, it goes from the pink to the orange because the radar is looking up into the cloud and picking up on different particles that are up in the cloud. So it's the easiest way to think about it.
I love it. So basically it's picking up where there's not, it's called correlation coefficient because basically it's looking to see how correlated things are in the atmosphere. So
how uniform they are.
Yes, exactly. That's the good word right there. That's right, how uniform they are. So, looking at the correlation coefficient, we do not necessarily have things quite as uniform along Route 128 running out through Burlington points south.
And we just flipped in Bedford, so
good. So we're good. So we're getting and Bedford's right on the edge of that. So this is really very true to form, very true to what's going on right now. Well, that's really good news for the snow forecast around Westboro and Shrewsbury. Part of you, you call the shots as it happens, but part of you as a forecaster is saying, oh, Lord, please don't let this go too far different from what we were supposed to do.
Please.
So this is a necessary thing from a forecast standpoint, no question about that. Let's see, Skywarn spotters reporting in North Canton, Connecticut, elevation of 810 feet, picking up on the order of a couple inches, 2.5 to 3. Ashby's got 2.5 inches of snow. Holden, Mass, now up to 3. Fantastic. Good to get the updates there. Let me get us back off of the debris detector and get us over to our regular radar so we can get a little bit better view of that as well.
So I will say it is going to be just from a life perspective here. A lot of schools in the Merrimack Valley stretching, just north and west maybe of 128 chose to have school, which is, I think, honestly was a good call, but are now canceling after school programs. So they're getting out right at the time actually when it's pretty snowy, and then they may have mixed with sleet or rain if the after school was held. It's such a difficult decision to make. It really is. And
it's one that that never comes without peril, right? For anybody.
Doesn't matter what decision is made.
For us as forecasters, for folks that are for parents and for educators, it never comes without peril. But the good news is that in many of these spots, again, the well-treated roads are
Yes.
holding up a little bit better. The bad news is that where there's not a lot of treatment or, it's only rock salt, there are some spots that are having trouble with it. Fitchburg's down to a half-mile visibility right now in snow that's coming down. Let's check in on the chat and see what else folks have chimed in with here. 41 and raining in Marshfield. Thank you, the Cash 311. Appreciate folks being here. Let's see, somebody getting a little advertisement for their own stuff. Okay, whatever. 3 to 4 inches in Winchendon, all snow, 28 degrees. 33 and rain in Uxbridge right now. Oh, DB Smith 001, my wife gets migraines with sharp changes in barometric pressure. When might that happen with this storm in West Hartford, Connecticut? What a really good question. So I tell you what, you know what we're going to do? What we're going to do, because that's
Migraines are the worst.
They are the worst, absolutely. Let me see if I can get us switched over. So, look, the center of the storm right now, and it should be up on your screen, the center of the storm right now is sitting essentially south of Cape May. So the barometric pressure is going to continue to fall for probably about the next 6 hours or so. And that's why we say that the heaviest precipitation, by the way, is going to happen between 6 and 8 p.m. for many of us. What that means for your wife is that remains a possibility through probably about 7 o'clock this evening, and then the pressure will start to rise. And I don't know if she does any better with rising pressure, but the pressure should start to rise after that. It does help that the storm's not coming directly over us, so you're not necessarily going to be dealing with a situation where you have a rapidly falling barometer anyway. Mass uses salt brine with the salt as it hits the road, gives a good punch to the salt and low temp. Sure does, Mike. Absolutely. In fact, some of our folks that we work with on the private forecast side do the same thing, and they find great success with it overall. All right, Boston, I love it. Boston MA COSX says it's horizontal versus vertical component of radar.
Yes.
Darn it. Yes, it is. All rain in Salem and Marblehead, hoping for some back-end thumping later. You'll get some snow that'll come in later in Salem and Marblehead. You'll probably get just enough to make it a mess, just a little bit of a pain. You probably pick up an inch on the backside.
The backside, lighter overall intensity. But
yeah, you've got that sub-freezing stuff that'll come in, so it's going to need treatment, maybe a little scraping in spots as well. Now, is this now trending colder? Yes, Mark. That was one of the, I'm glad you said that. In fact, we can do another kind of synopsis of what's going on meteorologically. We started with that in the beginning, but it's been a while. So we can, it is trending colder for areas north and west of Boston. But
even Boston, they just dropped from 36 to 35.
Wow. So Boston's actually getting colder.
I mean, not below freezing or anything like that, but some of the projections were to be in the 40s.
Yep. 3 inches of snow in Wheelwright and Hardwick, Massachusetts. Fred says, is the storm closer to the coast than earlier thought? Fred, the storm's going to take a pretty similar track, I think. It's going to end up very close to what it was supposed to do.
Just southeast of Nantucket.
Yep. And in fact, it's a matter of the fact that the air is so cold and dense is that it really comes down to a matter of miles. 10 miles is going to make a really big difference as to who gets what. Brookline just dropped to 32 degrees. All right, Fred, thanks for the update there. We appreciate it. Danielle, I can do a little bit of a meteorological synopsis to bring folks up to speed, but if you have anything that you've been seeing that you want to chime in on, you can break up the drone of my voice, by all means, feel free.
Nope, I like your voice. Keep it going.
Of course you do. Okay, great. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to switch us over to some of our photos that are coming in. These are examples of photos that have come in via the app. We appreciate everybody who continues to send in your reports. This one here was a photo from Steve Runner of sleet and icy rain in Oxford, Massachusetts that was taken about an hour ago or so. This one also about an hour ago or so was 3 inches in Granby, Massachusetts from Tim Wright. All of these, by the way, were sent in via our app in the Send to Us tab. We appreciate that you do that, and we get them as you send them in. Cape Cod, Yarmouth, look at that. All right, things are a little quieter for you down on Cape Cod. Let's see. Ooh, just got a brand new one that came in. Let's have some fun and see if I can load it up for us here.
I just want to let you know that what you're doing, I think, is very impressive. For those at home, just navigating all of this. It's not like you have a director or a producer, like you're doing it all on the fly. It's very hard to do while you're talking. You're moving the mouse. You're pulling up the pictures. It's
Well, that's
Well done.
that's
Good
very
job.
very nice of you.
I only
Thank
know
you.
because until you do it, like I had to do it one time, and I was like, oh my gosh. After
Yes.
I was done, I was like, you do a great job with it.
Well, thanks. Now, this is always a little dangerous, Danielle, because this is going to be a movie, and
All
and
of a
let's.
sudden you hear bleep, bleep. You guys didn't get it right. No, I'm just kidding.
What you guys can't see at home is that I am watching this ahead of time. Don't try to send inappropriate movies. I watch
No
them.
one's ever done that.
No one's ever yet. I watch them ahead of
I
time.
feel like you're.
Don't you get me in trouble. All right, hold on. Let's see if I can I even bring it up? I don't know how to bring it up, but nonetheless,
really?
it's snowing. It's snowing at Arlington Pond in Salem.
It's really pretty, too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I think I have to build in another source, which on the fly might be a little difficult. You want me? I could
Speaking
try,
of
but I
doing
think
that,
maybe we'll
no.
move on. Yeah, we'll move on. Okay. All right, so let's do the meteorological analysis and show you what's happening. All right, first of all, what we'll do, and then we'll go back to the chat and see what else you have. Danielle, you have the chats loaded up over there, by the way?
I have the Chat Tango.
Okay,
One that's on the live stream.
Got
but I
you.
don't
All
have
right.
the-
Okay, the aggregate one. Okay, no problem. I've got that right here in front of me, so that's all cool. Seeing, for example, Peter
have that one, yeah.
Peter chiming in on flash freeze potential. Peter, flash freeze? I don't think so, because remember, flash freeze, like, bam, it just happened. This is going to be more like kind of gradual freeze potential, I think. Admittedly, gradual is going to happen over like 2 hours. So, you could make the case that that's kind of flashy, but not necessarily like something where you have this amazing gradient and you come flat and crashing down. But yeah, it's like a flash freeze in slow motion. How's that? Snowing like crazy in Hubbardston, coming down fast. All right, thank you very much. Very excited. I'm glad you are. Karen, thanks for being here. We appreciate having you. All right, let's see if we can get back over to the full graphics. There we go. And we can play this through so you can get an idea of exactly what it is that we're watching here. I'm going to go ahead and switch over so I can actually see the graphics as well. Great. Just a reminder, there's a lot of ways to watch us here on your smart TV. Open the YouTube app. Do a search for 1 Degree Outside Network. So if you're watching us on some little screen right now, for goodness sake, promote yourself. Get onto the Smart TV YouTube app. Find us there. Again, 1 Degree Outside Network. Online on your computer at 1degreeoutside.live or on our app. It's linked right at the top of the home screen. Meanwhile, keep the photos coming. Right through the app is the easiest, quickest, and best way to do it. It's the Send to Us tab. You can send it right out of your gallery or take it live. You'll notice if you are watching on the stream right now, if you're watching on that 24/7 network at 1degreeoutside.live or on your smart TV or in the app for that matter as well, we have a few things on the left side of the screen. One of the things is an updating radar for different regions of New England at the top. By the way, the legend on there talks about tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning. We're not going to change that. We're going to leave it that way just because those are the most critical warnings that we always want to make sure are on there. And as we've seen certainly over the last several years, we've had severe thunderstorm warnings in winter before. You can also see the airport weather warning that's being put up there along with additional statements that are issued by the government. We always want to make sure that we have access to those for you. Then next down is the Boston, Maine live webcams. This is where you can see updating views from all across New England. We appreciate everybody who has a camera that's been set up through Boston, Maine Live, and we especially appreciate Mike McCormick and Boston, Maine Live on YouTube for partnering with us and allowing us to share these cameras with all of you across New England. And then you have in the lower left what I call Weather Geeks Corner. Weather Geeks Corner has all the maps that Danielle and I really love and get giddy about looking at. We knew that weather geeks all around New England would love to see them. So they are updating constantly and continuously. You have things like wave height, like sea surface temperature, things like how much snow has fallen over the past, how much snow is on the ground, snow depth, how much snow is coming up in the next 12 hours.
The wind chill on Mount Washington. I love that one.
That's a good one, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. So check that out. If you're not on the stream right now, make sure you bring it up. By the way, if you own some sort of business where you have a waiting room and you think it would be cool to have on in there, by all means, go ahead. Just open up that YouTube app and you search for 1 Degree Outside Network. We have that on 24/7, and we are always updating the videos on there as well. So here's the surface analysis that we were talking about with the change in barometric pressure. You can see where the low pressure is coming up over Cape May, New Jersey, set to move out over the ocean. and make its closest pass to New England as we get to about probably 6 o'clock this evening, bringing some of the heaviest precipitation between 6 and 8 p.m. Radar early this morning showed a band of snow showers that got started out of Narragansett Bay and off the ocean, spread northward from there through the 495 belt, and caused for at least a snowy drive as we made our way into the course of 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then finally, you can see what happened is everything filled in from the west. We do have a rain, snow, sleet line showing up in pink, and then we've got all rain in the areas that are in green right now. All those little white dots you see are all heavy snow reports that are coming back, or at least snow reports of about 1.5 inches or more. So again, there's a closer look. You can see everything kind of filling in. So if you're in southeast Mass, the only thing we're worried about for you is going to be that when the cold air comes back in, you may find yourself with a time where you drop below freezing and get just a coating of snow. So treatment may be needed as we head particularly beyond 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. Closer view of the radar in the Boston metropolitan area. The heaviest of precipitation sitting over southeastern portions of New England, but obviously where it's coming down is snow. It adds up fast. It doesn't take as much precipitation to make heavy snow as it does to make heavy rain. As for observations that we're getting right now and where we have various reports of heavy snow, I can give you a little bit of an overview and tell you that when you get into Fitchburg, you're a half mile at moderate snow. Orange, Massachusetts, farther down Route 2, a half mile in moderate snow. Worcester at the airport is 3/4 of a mile visibility in light snow. We are still moderate snow and half-mile visibility with full-on winter storm conditions in a lot of the Pioneer Valley, at least at Chicopee Falls and also at Westfield. We are at a half-mile visibility with moderate snow from Pittsfield up to North Adams, for that matter, as well. It's been sleeting in Smithville, Rhode Island. We are over to rain when you get to Norwood, and we are still raining in Boston. We have a wet snow coming down with 3-mile visibility at Beverly. That does not add up fast. And as Danielle mentioned earlier, and we looked at the correlation coefficient, we've gone over to sleet with 4-mile visibility at Hanscom Air Force Base. So that's going to help by not driving the snow amount up. But of course, it's little ball bearings of ice that go under the tires. And that means treatments need to be continuous and some scraping will need to be done on untreated surfaces. Lawrence, Massachusetts, Nashua, New Hampshire, both 3/4-mile visibility and steady snow coming down right now. That's going to continue. If we are going to end up with a spot that we end up going a bit over on snow, it's going to be Northern Essex County. We do partner with Northern Essex Community College in Haverhill, and we made sure to give an update to them during the late morning that the coastal front had failed to set up where we believed it was going to. It did not make it far enough north and west, and so as a result, we were talking about what was going to end up being a little bit more in the way of snow. So they are prepped for that up there in the Merrimack Valley and right at the New Hampshire border.
I noticed they actually canceled classes from 3 o'clock onwards. They were ready to go
okay.
and to make those decisions.
Got you.
Yeah.
Very good. So you can also see that when we get farther down to the south now, we've got rain along the Merritt Parkway, I-95, and the southern end of 91. You're over to freezing rain and sleet now when you head into Hartford. But the farther north you go through Connecticut, the more you get back into to what is still a bit of a mixture in them there hills of Litchfield County, from Kent running northward all the way up in through Canaan. The farther east you go, you're raining in Willimantic right now, and we're over to a freezing rain for the most part at Windsor, as we just heard from your reports right here live on the Weather Network as well. So that's kind of the rundown on what's going on in Connecticut. Let's go ahead and take the tour and move it along a little bit more. This time we're going to make our way farther off to the north, and you can see out of the Capital District we continue to feed snow out of Albany, making its way into Berkshire County. This is where I told you we have the moderate snow coming down. It is heavy when you get across Schenectady, New York, and Troy, New York right now. That is a problem, obviously, for folks who are traveling out along the New York Thruway, headed out toward the Mohawk Valley, where it's not snowing quite as heavily there as it is through the Capital District. You're also getting heavy snow in the southern Greens, where Danielle showed you earlier this morning in our morning video. We expect to find over a foot of snow possible in some of the high terrain by the time we're done. There's the snow up and down the Maine coastline right now, still working on filling in mid-coast down east, as we've had a little bit of warming aloft going on there, but mostly the Maine Turnpike has on the order of 3 to 5 inches already on the ground. Still coming down, you sit squarely in our 8 to 12 inch zone. We'll show you that in just a moment. Same thing for the Lakes region of New Hampshire, running up to the base of the White Mountains and Presidentials. You've got a chance of picking up that much as well. Southern New Hampshire, you're into it also until you get right down to the Mass border, and then it begins to drop off. We'll show you that map in a second. We looked together earlier on the live cams at the fact that Burlington, Vermont, northern Vermont, it's a light kind of snow globe snow that's coming down right now. Nothing we can't handle by Vermont standards, but at the same time, things are pretty slick coming along I-89, and it's winter storm conditions when you make your way through Camel's Hump and come over through Montpelier. You're going to run into that as well. There's the steady snow expanding north across the great north of New England. A little bit for you there. I know we have a lot of folks that have love of northern New England, whether you're watching us from northern New England. We get a lot of folks watching, particularly from Maine, and we appreciate that you tune in. You're at a half-mile visibility at Berlin, New Hampshire right now, and you've got moderate snow that's coming down, 23 degrees. You go on the other side of the mountains, though, or at least you go on the other side of the Connecticut River, and you're down to really just very light, pretty snow at Morrisville, Vermont, and also at Newport and Derby. Temperature running about 23 to 25. Looks like Bar Harbor is down to a mile visibility in light snow right now at 33, but Rockland, Maine, mid-coast Maine has gone to a southwest wind. It's 38 and raining, while it's a northerly wind when you make your way from Brunswick down to Portland, and you've got snow that's coming down. But again, getting some of that milder air aloft, not snowing anywhere the same in Portland, Maine, as it is at someplace like Laconia. You lose a lot of that accumulation efficiency as you make your way into places like Portland.
How interesting. The Bar Harbor with the southeast wind is snowing right now, though.
Right?
That's, and you know, with the south,
yes, right.
And Rockland is
33 with the light snow, but Rockland's gone southwest, and what did I say, 38, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
We have a couple of 5 to 7 inch reports across southern Vermont, and that was a couple hours ago. So I'm thinking they're probably up close to 9 or 10 now.
That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
And we just got a picture, and I know you can pull the pictures up.
Oh, sure.
But,
yeah, I can
Carl
work on
said in Raymond, New Hampshire, moderate snow and 2 inches so far. So even where they've been snowing, moderately for the past couple of hours, like you said in the beginning, it didn't accumulate as quickly, and now it's picking up a little bit in terms of what's coming down out there. So he just gave a little shot of what it looked like on a little tree with, some of the cars having the snow on it as well.
Where was that?
Oh, right through our email.
Through the
1 Degrees to Outside app.
Through the app.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it just hasn't come through on my report spreadsheet yet, but it will.
Yep.
It will. All right, very good. That's excellent. Let's see So I was going to have you do this part, Danielle.
Oh, wow.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with regard to the temperatures, and let's also take a moment to look at your accumulation forecast and where we stand with regard to that. I'll let you kind of take it away on that. We'll start out with temperatures.
All right. So current temperatures behind us, you saw, and Matt mentioned it too. It's a fluffier consistency because the temperatures are colder in far northern New England. But it isn't like a super easy to move around snow. And then the closer you are to that coastal front, it gets a little bit wet and pastier. We're actually in the mid to upper 40s right now for most of the Cape, and then back down to Nantucket and the Vineyard. So quite a contrast. Look at like Chester Center compared to Groton. So we're near 50 in Montauk Point, and then we're in the mid 30s. So there's that kind of boundary that's set up. We get that little mix that's in between. The wind isn't all that strong with this system.
No.
We've got some gusts that are 10 to 20. I was looking, there may be like a brief window, I'm talking like an hour, where we gust like 30 to 40 along the immediate south shore to the Cape around midnight as the storm makes its closest pass just south and east of Nantucket. But winds not overly strong with this system. We'll see some gusts, maybe 20 to 30 miles per hour through the rest of the day today. But right now, generally 10 to 20 miles per hour. And visibility is most reduced where we've got the snow coming down in the steadiest band. So from, Albany into the Berkshires, southwest New Hampshire, out through, the Route 2 corridor.
There's a trick to the visibility, too. And the trick is, the way that I've kind of shaded this is that when you start getting into that gray area, that's where it accumulates more quickly.
Oh,
so
like
you're
that.
Getting faster accumulation there. And it's not like I made that up.
Did you shade it with a half an inch?
Yeah, basically when you get below 3/4 of a mile.
Okay.
Yeah, you start to get into that, right? So essentially that's your area where your most efficient accumulation has been going on. And actually it's kind of interesting because if we take that, I think the next thing that I have loaded up in here is the accumulation forecast. But remember that zone where it's most efficiently accumulating, okay? And then, well, we're going to take it in through the radar forecast first, then we'll get to the accumulation map. So, Danielle, of course, I think, at this point, now we've got a pretty decent handle on the fact that rain-snow line never completely goes out toward 495. It stays inside 495 over the course of this one, right?
Yeah, I do think it does. I mean, if you notice right on through early evening, the temperature in Lawrence, and this will be the case, right? We're around 30 right now, but even in the Merrimack Valley and Route 2, we're going to, kind of, quote, peak and then turn back around. Plus, as the steadier precip comes in, we may get a little bit of cooling that happens as it becomes a little bit steadier over the course of the late afternoon to early evening. And then that rain-snow line is going to collapse back to the coastline. So there we go, right around or just before midnight, and much of inside of 128 back to Boston, eastern Essex County. So that's what we were talking about towards the tail end. But at that point, you're wrapping up the back edge of the precip. The back edge comes through from west to east, generally like 1 to 3 a.m., but it's much lighter at that point. But that's what we were talking about all week in terms of it being a little bit slick on untreated surfaces, even where it rained, right, and the temperature dropped below freezing. So we really didn't make any huge, whole-scale changes to this map since you put out the early one several days ago. Over the course of the weekend, we've just tightened up the gradient. Tightened the gradient up and then kind of shifted it, just nudged it back just a little bit south and east. So the zone that you had shaded there for visibility with the 8 to 12 is where we're going to have the jackpot. Right. And then it's a real tight gradient from 495 and then 128. Again, that 1 to 2 inches with a little bit on the tail end in far eastern Massachusetts. Great news for snow lovers and winter sports enthusiasts. This is great for, ski country.
Snowmobiling.
Oh, it's amazing. It's a widespread 6 to 12 for most of central, northern New England, a little bit less along the Canadian border, but we're already seeing, some of the totals that are topping out that will likely top out over a foot from southern Vermont, and then probably with that little coastal band in southern Maine where we get some amounts that go over a foot too. So, this is a nice little storm to start the season, I feel like, for
it
a
definitely
lot of snow
is.
lovers.
It definitely is. And then overnight tonight, as those temperatures drop, I think probably that refreeze comes back into play. And so that's going to be something that we want you to be on guard for. Even at the South Shore, we haven't really been a big part of this storm except for rain. Just keep in mind that things may change a little bit for you as we get into the overnight.
Things that are treated will be just fine. But yeah, you're right. If it drops to right around 32 and you're driving tomorrow morning, or your sidewalk or your driveway, and you step out and it looks a little glistening, it's going to be a little slick.
That's right. And folks, just so you know, when I keep turning my back to Danielle, it's not that I don't like my wife.
You always have to say that. People know that,
It just seems so rude. Yes,
Why
Danielle,
are you so
please
rude?
go on.
Rude.
It's because the monitor that I'm kind of steering things with to pick what we're going to show you is off to this side. So yes,
it's just that I don't have a monitor to this side, so I can't go like this and give you my back. It's okay.
How do you like the back of my head? Is it nice?
It looks nice.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right, so let's get back over to the chat because folks, you've been wonderful. And just a reminder here that we have it up behind us, but maybe I should bring it up full screen so you can see it a little bit better. That if you are watching and feeling cramped, claustrophobic inside the phone, get off the phone for a minute and watch us on your TV. If you have a smart TV, we're on right now on the YouTube app. You just search 1 Degree Outside Network, little insider info. That's always on. We have our network on 24/7.
Never comes down.
Yep.
Ever.
How geeky are we, right? We always wish that New England had its own weather network, and so then we just said, darn it, let's make a weather network.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And we did.
Yeah.
And so it's up all the time. And I mentioned earlier, you got Weather Geeks Corner that shows up there in the lower left of that stream. If you are on the computer, 1degreeoutside.live. Of course, 1degreeoutside.com is our website, but .live is the stream. And if you are on the go, the neat thing is whether you're going to be like out on the boat, whether you're out skiing, you're on the chairlift and you want to watch, go ahead, pull out the phone and check it out. It's linked at the top of our app home screen. So with that, let's get caught up on the chat. The one spot that you can't chat with us too easily is on the app. Go figure. I mentioned it earlier. You're looking at the IT team, so it's pretty tough to get that configured in right now. But you can chat with us at 1degreeoutside.live. If you're real savvy, you can figure out how to do it on your smart TV as well. But you got to be savvy and not mind like going like this with the remote a whole bunch of times. But if you go to any of our social media, some of you watching on social media right now, you can chime in there. We bring it all together so we can see all of your comments and questions right here in one spot. Okay, where do we have it? We have 1 3/4 inches in Lowell, snowing moderately at 30 degrees, say the Odin brothers. Thank you. Oh, Boston and Maine Live, watching on the big YouTube big screen today. Boston and Maine Live. Mike, I don't know if you heard the shout out earlier, but thank you.
Mike.
And to folks who didn't hear earlier, Mike is just great. He runs Boston and Maine Live cams on YouTube, bunch of different live channels.
They're awesome.
So relaxing to watch.
I saw goats
Seriously.
a few minutes ago, and I was like, look at these goats in the snow.
They're awesome.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I love so many of the cameras, but.
Yeah, and Mike, you've done a great job of putting them all together. And thank you so much for the partnership, and thank you for letting us share this on our stream. So if you're watching on our streaming network, you'll see the cams on the left side of the screen. They're constantly cycling through. That's thanks to Boston Maine Live and Mike McCormick. Very much appreciate it.
One of the best things was, remember a couple weeks ago when there was the Northern Lights, not as far south, but it was up in, and we saw it on it. We're like, look at the Northern Lights.
The Northern Lights
for Northern
cams,
New England.
they're amazing. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Sorry,
He's got some of those set up in Maine, and they are
great.
just really, really great. And that, by the way, Mike and us getting connected is a connection that came courtesy of Tim Kelly, who we both worked with for years and years and years at NECN and then at NBC 10 Boston. So it's truly a labor of love, and it takes a village, so to speak, you know?
does.
And we're very, very fortunate to have so much love. Meanwhile, Art says 31 degrees at Berry Hill Farm in Upton. So you're talking about south central Massachusetts now, essentially. 31 degrees and freezing rain. Let's see. Kevin says, my daughter lives in Enfield. What's it like there? So Enfield has picked up, I'm assuming you mean Enfield, Connecticut. Let me know if you don't. But Enfield has picked up a couple inches of snow and has seen a change over now to what has been a combination of sleet, freezing rain, and a couple of snowflakes mixed in. It's winter driving conditions, chemically treated roads holding up better than the rest. Let's see, daughter at USM Gorham with heavy snow. All right, Mark, thank you very much. Please encourage her to tune in if she would like, and she can chime in. We'd love to hear from her. First sweep of the walkway, a good 3 inches and falling in Ashby, Massachusetts. So we are adding it up in Ashby right now, no question about that. Other chats that are coming in to us right now. Appreciate everybody who is chiming in. Let's see, in Webster, just came from tutoring. Raining here, thankfully, but I did just see a town truck go by. However, I live at a steep hill and cars don't seem to be having difficulty. That's good in Webster. We're glad to hear that. Moving this weekend, can you talk about precipitation chances and type for the Merrimack Valley? Yes, we can do that, 100%. John, hang on 1 second. 3.5 inches in Florence, Massachusetts at 2:20. Snow becoming moderate to heavy. Now in hourly monitoring mode. Sounds good to me.
Yes.
There we go. Very good. And very good. Dave Hayes in Florence. Thank you very, very much for the report there out of Florence, Massachusetts. All right. Meanwhile, I will load up, Danielle, some of the stuff about this weekend. But as I do that, is there anything else that you've been seeing or want to share with us?
No, I think you said some of these reports, but Tewksbury coming back with 1.2 inches, and that was just about an hour ago. So I'm looking at some of the latest reports. 6 inches from Otis, couple inches in Hampton, Mass. 4 inches in Meredith, but they're probably more like 6 now. So it's great getting snowfall reports, but then to your point, Dave Hayes, of hourly snow mode, that's absolutely would be great if everyone just sent in their updated totals every hour so we could know like what it's coming down in terms of an hourly rate and get some updates on here too. The interesting thing, so I know we're pulling up this weekend stuff. About this weekend is moving is always difficult, right? It's always a long day typically. So I'll be curious to see what your thoughts are on this upcoming weekend. I talked about it a little bit in Insights earlier today.
Well, what did you say?
I was just looking at the vorticity because
there it is. There's the vorticity.
Okay, because there's a surface low that comes out of the Gulf and tracks south of New England, and then there's a northern stream disturbance coming in. So thankfully, it doesn't look like they link up in time or, in a way that's going to create significant precip, but there is a vortmax that comes over us. So even though the storm passes to our south, the southern stream storm, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some rain and snow showers that kind of expand over the course of Saturday afternoon and evening as that little vortmax comes in. I don't think it's anything substantial. Yep. Because those two don't phase. What are your thoughts just looking at it?
Yeah, I mean, look, a couple days ago it was looking like it was going to be the next big thing. It actually looked like it might be more wintry for some parts of far southern New England than this one. But yeah, you're right. I mean, things have certainly kind of evolved that at this point it looks like it's going to stay flat and fast. And it's funny because this is one of the things that Oh, I mentioned in the member live stream. So for those of you who don't know, we actually have memberships here at 1 Degree Outside, and we really appreciate everybody who's a member.
And for the next few days, they're 25% off
yeah,
for the first month.
Black
through
Friday
Thursday.
special that we take through the end of this week. Yeah.
So.
But if you go to membership.onedegreeoutside.com, you'll see it there. Some folks are Fuel the Forecast members. Basically, they're just like, thanks for doing this all for free. Here, let me support you. But then Inside Track members and above, we do these pre-storm live streams where we get together, talk about the geeky side of weather. So I had mentioned on that it was like really kind of exciting to see it come together, but at the same time, in this pattern over the next 3 weeks or so, it basically is don't trust anything beyond about 3 days. And the reason for that is because these are such fast-moving disturbances that are really flat. Flat, fast disturbances oftentimes become nothing, but sometimes become like today. If they can organize, grab some Atlantic moisture, then they can become something a little bit bigger and a little bit more meaningful. So, for example, when we did that live stream, it was looking like this weekend could be something, but we knew in this pattern, don't trust it. Right. And so to see it go away is not really shocking.
And I don't think it may not be completely dry, but yeah, in terms of moving on Saturday or this upcoming weekend, it doesn't look like you'll be dealing with anything too substantial.
Good, excellent.
But a few days out still, right? So we'll keep an eye on it.
That's right. Let's see. Jim says, checked my Ring camera in Medway, no snow at all. All rain and a few wet flakes at Beverly Farms in Manchester. Whew. Thank goodness you did add as you predicted. That's nice because we will hear from some folks who will let us know that it didn't go as predicted in their hometown. Snow's got 3 inches. All right, very good. Thank you for the report there. I love it. Mark is now talking with his daughter at USM Gorham here in the chat. I love
so
it.
Cute.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes, Sarah, send the pic. We'll look for it. That would be great. Been raining with occasional sleet mixing in Charlton since 11:40. Snow to coating. Charlton, Massachusetts. Sorry, I'm getting all excited. I had to nudge you.
The mug.
Charlton, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Central Mass, West Central Mass, right? Did you hear that? The report from Weatherlord, I love the name, I'm a little jealous, is that it's been raining with occasional sleet mixing in since 11:40 this morning after a coating between 9:30 and 11:20.
All right.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's crazy. We're going to go to the cams here in just a second. You'll be able to see for yourself what's going on in Western Mass and everywhere else for that matter. Right here on the line in Elliott, Kittery, Maine, still snow for now. You're going to stay mostly, so you'll have some sleet mix in. You're going to do well in this storm. In Elliott and Kittery, I think you're going to do well.
Do we have a ruler here?
I got a tape measure.
I knew you did. Okay.
I got a tape measure.
All right. I just was curious.
From all my wall hanging that I've been doing around the studio.
All right.
Yeah.
So I couldn't remember if you had one.
So long story short of the wall hanging, by the way, as we bring up a radar so you can see what's going on. Long story short on the wall hanging is that it was very nice. We got a very nice gift from Ironstone Farm, who is one of the beautiful organizations that we have the privilege and pleasure of working with. And when we hosted their gala and they had honored us, which was very nice, but they had the whole place decked out for weather.
It was all weather themed.
So imagine this whole wall mural, right? That was Hurricane Bob. Danielle fell in love with the weather in Hurricane Bob.
Hurricane Gloria.
Right,
Maps.
that was me. And a blizzard of 78, right? And some of the other historic storms. So we saw that. We said, that's awesome.
We're like, what are you doing with this?
Right, we'd love that. So they said, take it. So we've got it up in our studio. You shared a picture on social media a while back, right?
A little video, actually, in our podcast. So for our
the podcast.
Inside Track members, we had a little behind-the-scenes look at that. So
if you hate hearing us talk, you probably don't want the podcast. If you like the kind of interaction, what we do here, that's another thing that's a membership thing. Membership.onedegreeoutside.com. No, these are not planned plugs, but you can check it out. If you're an Inside Track member or above, then you're able to become part of the podcast there as well, which is, that's another thing that we do. Okay, meanwhile, let's see. Do we have more in the way of chats? They're coming in 3 inches and 27 degrees in Sterling with moderate snow right now. Good. We've got you in that. I think you're in that 8 to 12 zone, so we got to make sure that we get you up there. That's our goal, and that's our plan, is to get the forecast right in as many spots as we can. But we are always honest when we think that isn't going to happen, because we know that's a big part of it as well. All right, let's see what else I've got to offer you. I think what I'd like to do, Danielle, unless you have something immediate and imminent, is go back over to the webcams and see what we've got going on for road conditions. I think folks can get a little something out of that. What do you think?
I think so, yes, especially because school's letting out soon. I'm just curious about that from
our standpoint?
Yeah. For our children.
Yeah, I know. All right, so
which they're going to be psyched about.
They're going to be psyched, yeah. Yeah, Daddy told them this morning, yes, honey, it's going to snow and then it will change to rain for a while. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case. Although here in the Merrimack Valley, it's getting closer, right? We've gone over. This is again our super duper double looper radar, and what I mean by that
is that the official name now?
Yeah, that's. I just gave it that.
I like it.
But we actually made this precipitation typing ourselves on this one. So the one that we have on our weather graphic system comes with a weather graphic system. But this particular precipitation type radar, Aaron Perry, who I used to work with at NBC Boston and ACN, he then went off and worked in a bunch of places, most recently for NOAA. And so he's on board with us here at 1 Degree Outside, which is great. So he and I make this great kind of dynamic duo. I think about these ideas and he knows how to make them into reality. So one of the things we thought of is it would be great to have like an actually accurate precipitation type radar. So the only place you'll find it is when we're doing this stream, because it basically right now we just aren't big enough to put it out there for everybody. So we've got it right here at our own studios and what we can use behind the scenes, but share it in this stream. So you can look and tell me how accurate it is, and you can check it, because I'm going to street level. I want to know, is it really raining right now at Seabrook Beach? If you're watching from Seabrook, let me know. Now, if you're at Hampton, that cam's not working.
I feel like it's not.
At Salisbury, let's see what. That one's not working. All right, look at that. That looks more like rain than snow to me right now at the mouth of the Merrimack and Newburyport.
Wow.
Hold on, let's come farther in up Newburyport, up the Merrimack River. All right, this was snowing. There's no question. It was. Now there's still snow in there.
I was gonna say it's snow in Beverly.
We might be a block and a half off on that one. I think we're a block and a half off, because see the snow line's about a block and a half away. You come farther down to the south, Ipswich should be raining right now. Let's get the cam. Oh, not working. Darn it. All right, let's come back up along 495 in Haverhill. That one's been off on the fritz all day. Here we go. This is in Andover. See, this is
the main roads, so that's good.
Yeah.
This is great.
And this is what I was talking about earlier, Danielle, about the accumulation rate being so pathetic. I mean, that's in Andover. Look at the median. Look at the side of the road. You can still see the grass.
It's been hours.
Yeah. And it's been below freezing. It's been like 29. And for those of you that are kind of wondering watching the stream, why is that? Let's get into the science of it. Make a long story short. Oh, we refreshed the image. But to make a long story short, when you change the temperature of the cloud aloft, and in this case you're making it warmer, you are no longer making great snow crystals
like the
for
classic
accumulation.
Snowflake that you think of.
So that's kind of what's going on. And then the farther inland you go, look at that. Lowell, still, it's not like there's a ton of snow in the median, right? Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like a grand old time on the roads, but there you go. Chemically treated at Chelmsford right now at 495, Route 3 Lowell Connector. Doing pretty good.
Right, as long as they're treated.
Right?
Yep.
Let's go up Route 3 a little more, though. There we go.
Yeah,
again, chemically treated fine.
Although a little bit on the shoulder.
That's in Tingsboro. Yep, that's in Tingsboro. Yep. And then if we go out, Fitchburg should be coming down good. Let's see. There we go.
Yep.
There's your winter storm. That's it. Fitchburg's in it to win it. Absolutely. Jaffrey, is the cam up in Jaffrey? Let's see if it's working. No, not right now. Okay. All right, let's come down 495 a little ways. Littleton, again, chemically treated, holding up, snow on the sides. This is tough. This is the overpass at Boxborough, exit 75 at Route 111. All right. And then we come down a little bit more, and again, chemically treated, doing all right in Bolton at 495. Let's come down through the Marlboro stretch. There we go, chemically treated, holding up all right. Hopkinton, you can see the exit and entrance ramp down in the lower right there. That entrance ramp, a little bit slushy for us. You go out to Worcester. Mass Pike looks pretty good. It's got the treatment on. Again, look at the side of the roads in Millbury. It's just not that much.
No.
It's just not that much, right? Worcester right now, that's not going to work for me. That's all right. I got another one, College of Holy Cross. We'll look at that. They got a beautiful camera. When you start getting south, it's just wet, whether the cameras work or not. A lot of the Mass DOT ones go out. But there we go. So let me slide it over so you can see it. Raynham right now, it's all wet. It's all wet. But if you come farther west, this is where things get interesting. So remember, oh, wow. So we were talking about Charlton and the fact that it's been mostly raining. Look at this. You can actually see our super-duper double-looper radar picking up on where the rain is making inroads in parts of Charlton. And then look at this. Sturbridge, there's the cam. You're fine in Sturbridge right now.
It's raining. It's sleeting in Brimfield, Spencer, Paxton.
Wow. But here we go,
Munson.
folks. We're going to go west along the turnpike. You ready?
West of Lake Warren
Yup.
should be all
Yep.
snow still.
Palmer at exit 63, Route 32. You're still okay. Now you're going downhill. Now you get the slush. Even though you can see blacktop, you get the slush all over the place. This is at Ludlow. We're starting to gain some. You ready? We're going to go up a little bit more in elevation next. There it is. There's your winter storm driving, Ludlow right now. And then we come back down into the valley. And this is what we were talking about earlier, that elevation does make a difference. It's not good in Chicopee, but it's better than Ludlow. All right, let's see. And there we go. This is very slushy in Chicopee by exit 9 at Route 391. And in Westfield right now, oh, that's too bad. That's a nice cam. Westfield, there you go. There's the DOT cam. That's winter storm conditions again. So we continue west on the Mass Turnpike. There's winter storm conditions at Blandford. Are we surprised? Not really, right? Let's come farther back out still. There we are. We start getting out toward the New York state line. Oh, that's misplaced. That's misplaced. Let's go farther to the north, see what's happening in the Queen City of Manchester. There you go. That's the Peregrine Falcon's back. Last time we checked, the Falcon wasn't there. You like that Falcon,
I do.
huh?
Do you know why?
Why do you like the
specifically?
Peregrine?
Because
it's the fastest bird on earth.
Yes, that, and I had a Peregrine Falcon that lived outside of my dorm window at UMass Lowell because I lived on the 16th floor of Fox Hall, and so they have a little Fox. So UMass Lowell has a camera too. But I'd be in my dorm room, and my roommate Rachel and I would hear, "Rah!" And so we realized we had one nesting right outside our window, 16 floors up.
Did you ever feed it?
No. I did not try to feed the Falcon.
You had a little mice, what do you feed it? What do you feed it?
16 floors up, our windows didn't open, actually.
Oh, yeah, right.
But they had a little grate on them, too. But we could
Say
see
no
the
more.
bird.
I'm sure that was a lesson learned the hard way.
We could see the bird.
Yeah,
and
wow.
So that's what it brought me back to right there. Right outside our window in college.
I love it. Well, there it is again. It's taking you back.
It is.
But it's a winter storm down below the bird. The bird's pretty protected.
Actually, the bird's
and doing pretty
looking
well.
around like,
Yeah, it's a winter storm farther down to the south.
Anyways.
Let's go out to southern Vermont. Let's go to Stratton Mountain. Oh, there's some happy folks that are.
So many happy
Isn't that awesome?
skiers.
Look at the snow.
Look at
It is really gulping.
look at that snowboarder.
Woo! I love it. I love it.
This is kind of motivating me to get back on skis, baby.
Yeah. Good luck finding the time. Good luck.
know.
Yeah, we have 3 kids and run a startup. I think I'll go skiing in the snowstorm. Have fun.
That would be cool.
Yep.
Let's get a webcam.
Maybe we could do a live remote. Maybe we could go, maybe we could.
We're live.
Yeah. Just ask the IT guy. See if he'll set it up
Bling,
for you. Okay, we refresh. Let's go ahead and go a little bit farther north, Upper Valley. There we are at Dartmouth. Looking good. Snow's a little lighter than it was last time we checked on it. Looks like there's a little break. You can actually see on the radar that lighter blue that's around Dartmouth. Let's go back into the heavier stuff again, shall we? Loon. Nice. Congratulations, Loon. Picking up some snow. Folks who are happy here as well. Kankamagus Highway. That's it. Potato, right? This is from the view north to the Pemigewasset Wilderness from mtnclub.com. Let's go farther north because why not? We're having a good time doing it. We try to give shout outs to everyone who runs the cameras, all right? Waitsfield, Vermont, mrvtv.com. I love this great, beautiful, idyllic, calendar-like shot from Waitsfield, Vermont. I told you earlier it's a really pretty snow going on in northern Vermont right now. There's Mount Mansfield, kind of blanketed. We come into the WCAX, they're a TV station up in northern Vermont. Their camera they got set up in Burlington. Again, real pretty, light snow that's coming down. And as you start to come east, you get back into it again. Here we go, Sunday River. They'll never complain about being into the mix when it comes to snow.
No way.
That's gorgeous stuff. Farther to the north still, let's see, Sugarloaf's, one of theirs is down. Let's see, if I zoom in, there's a second one that we might be able to, there we go. Ready? There it is. There's the one out of Sugarloaf that's working good right now. Fantastic. That's a pretty snow, too. And then we come down to the coast, and we talked about how when you came to Rockland, Maine, it was 38 and raining. There you go. That's the view at Rockland, Maine right now. All right? And then we come farther south and west in Freeport. Now you've got a wet snow at Harpswell that's still coming down. We come into Portland, and it's snowing. Right all the way to the coast now. Portland Headlight. You got the snow that continues to come down. We come farther down the Maine coast. We go to Old Orchard. That's good. That's another spot. Is that a call we need to take or no?
Nope, that is the buses are running
Oh.
late or slower in the snow.
Very good.
Call.
Very good. Hats off to Grandma for taking care of the girls today when they get off the bus. We appreciate it, Grandma, so we can be here. There's marginal weighing of Gunquit. And now you're starting to get more and more back into that snow sector again, right? So the farther south that we come into Portsmouth, we had some earlier snow that was in Portsmouth. It looks like a bunch of those cams are down for the time being. But anyway, that gives you the cam overview on what's happening across the area. I'll check in on the chat again and see what we have that's new. Portsmouth Strawberry Bank webcam looks like it's snowing. Rinkside, 29 degrees. 1 to 2 inches in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, says Mr. C Northeast. Thank you very much for giving us the report on that. That helps. We actually do have Portsmouth in a little bit less than that. The 8 to 12 starts in interior Rockingham County, especially northern Rockingham, right? Let's see. Since chatting with you in Beverly, the temp's down from 233 from 36 in less than an hour, says Mark in Beverly. All right, thanks. Mark, I would assume that you're probably still getting raindrops, not snowflakes that are coming down, but let me know.
Switched back to snow now.
Oh, Beverly's back to snow at the airport?
Yep.
Hopefully the visibility is not terrible. 2.5. Okay. Interesting. All right. Still sleeting at Bedford, huh? Now 4-mile visibility at Lawrence. So the snow, well, we're in a bit of a lull on radar. That could be it. I don't want to get too excited about the fact that we may be getting the milder air aloft, but it's a real possibility. Maybe we should, Danielle, go to that. What?
Correlation coefficient. Yeah, I was going to say.
I was just going to ask you.
Yep, it's very close to 495, but it's near North Reading, Topsfield.
Let's take a look together.
Hamilton,
Ready? I got it up on the
Ipswich.
the screen. Yeah. So again, for those of you who weren't watching earlier, we call it the debris tracker, but that's because what it does is it picks up on things that are not uniform in the atmosphere. So during severe weather season, debris that's thrown up by a tornado is not uniform to the rest of the atmosphere. So you can see very quickly when there's anything non-meteorological that's gone into the sky. But in this case, well, you explained it great last time. So if folks weren't watching, you can explain it great this time.
It's just a way to be able to tell where kind of the snow transitions to a mix with some sleet and or freezing rain. So that pink that you see, oh, right, you put it behind me again. And then the orange, when it goes to this orange shading, that's where the particles are not uniform anymore, right? So we're all snow in this zone. And then when I have that line that actually was down here this morning and is slowly kind of lifted north, that's where we've got that sleet that's been mixing in at times. Although, interestingly, you're right, Beverly is back over to snow, but they're kind of right on the edge. And that's because of just a little bit of warmer air, all of it relative just above our heads that's coming in and allowing... Think of it, right? Snow coming down, enters. This is how I explain it to the kids when I go to a school visit. It's like taking a pizza out of the oven. It's not as warm as a pizza, but it's a nice little thin crust pizza. And it's snow coming down, and it melts, and then it refreezes. So that's when we're getting a little sleet mixing in. I just relate things to food. And kids like it, too.
I love it. You do a great job with it. You do a great job with that, absolutely. So, yeah, it looks like then you can definitely actually pick up even here on the fact that you mentioned Beverly is back over to snow, so that definitely shows up here.
It's just interesting with the correlation coefficient. I wonder if they're mixing still a little bit, you know?
Yep.
With some sleet
Yep.
from time to time.
Yep. They're calling me now.
The school.
It's recorded. That's good.
It's just... I get the call ahead of you for some reason. No.
Yeah, it's I wonder why.
No.
Yeah, I wonder why. All right, great. So good. So we've got that set up. You explained to us the correlation coefficient. For those of you that are just checking in, thanks for being here. Not everything we do is talking about correlation coefficient. We do a meteorological analysis for you as well to show you what's going on. But look, to kind of remind you, or if you're just chiming in now because you're watching on social media, we see a number of you are doing exactly that. Perhaps you're watching on the YouTube live stream that we have that's going right now. Just keep in mind that we actually have our live streaming network that is always up and always available to you. You can grab that on your smart TV, and you just do a search in the YouTube app for 1 Degree Outside Network. If you're on the computer, you go to 1degreeoutside.live. Or if you are watching on the app or you want to be able to watch on the app, just tap the link at the top of the home screen that takes you directly to the live stream, and you'll be able to see the latest of what's going on there. I'll leave that on the screen for a minute so you can type it in, check it out, and get on board. The other thing that we'll remind you of is that we really love getting your photographs and videos, and you can send them to us. via the Send to Us tab, which is right in our app. The app is 5 stars and is totally free.
It's so easy to send it in. Just click the button, literally you upload your picture from your phone, and boom, it gets sent to us.
Yep, it does send it via email, so if you don't have email set up on your phone, then you might have a little bit of difficulty, but as long as you've got email set up on there, you should be doing pretty well. So, look, the setup on the big picture is that we've got a coastal storm that's making its way off of the Cape May, New Jersey. It's now moved out over the ocean. It's about to enter its strengthening phase even more so, and that's why we're going to get some of the heaviest precipitation thrown up in our direction between now and about 8 p.m. or so. You can see where there is some of that heavier precipitation too at the center of the storm, and that is just off the coast of New Jersey and then arcing over Long Island. We'll take a closer look at the radar in just one moment so you can see what's happening with that, but that's the kind of overview on the big picture. So here is the radar as promised. The pink is fairly small, right? It's an area where you're looking at some of the sleet and freezing rain that's been mixed in. But the interesting thing is that we've actually watched the warm air drive a little bit farther north, even though it's still snowing. And here's what I mean by that. So some of these snow reports that we have that are coming in, right? If I zoom in a little bit and we take a look just on the cold side of the front, we're still at 1 inch of snow. Right now in Wilmington, Massachusetts. Or we come out to Acton and you're at 3 inches of snow. Now, look, that's a decent amount of snow. Right now, if you go into some place like Tewksbury, that 1.2 is a little old. That was from 101 in the afternoon. So, Clinton is 131. It's a little newer. You've got 2.5 inches. There we go, 141. You've got 2.1 inches when you get out to Leominster. How are we doing out by Barrie? 2.5 inches in Hubbardston right now. Very good. And then in Barrie itself, 2.3, and that was over an hour ago. So you got to figure those amounts have come up pretty decently for us as well. Manchester, this was also like 1 o'clock, so that's old now. So you're probably up around 3, I would imagine. But some of these areas that are sitting just on the northwest side of that kind of mix line, you would expect to have higher amounts of snow. But you don't see that. And the reason is because of the fact that the snow is not really perfectly kind of accumulating type snow that's in place for the areas that are close to that front. It's farther to the north and west that you get into the better accumulating snow. Some of the icy indicators you see on here are from earlier in the day. Temperatures now are running in the 40s, and I'll show you that in just a second. We've been looking at rain across southern Connecticut, sleet and freezing rain mixed across central Connecticut, and the last of the snow in Connecticut right now is confined to the corners, the quiet corner of northeast Connecticut and also into the hilly terrain of Litchfield County to the north and west. Around New York City, it's been raining for just about everybody until you make your way up toward Poughkeepsie, and then you switch it back over to snow. Farther north, it's been snowing steadily and heavily in the Berkshires, where at elevation we've already crossed half a foot of snow, according to the Skywarn storm spotters. And when you get up to Schenectady, that's another area where some steady snow has been coming down. That's an old report. Let's see if we can get a new one. Oh, those are all old reports. Boo to the old reports. We like the new ones better. No, not too much new out of eastern New York State. Farther to the north, we continue to see the snow coming down. Let me shift the view a little bit more formally here. Let's see what we can do. We'll shift our view and get a good look at what's going on in northern New England. And this is where, again, we've had our steadiest band of snow draped across places like Washington, New Hampshire, coming in through the southwest corner of the state, down and through southern Vermont for that matter as well. And then you pick it up again as you come across the Lakes region. We've been in and out of at times what has been heavy snow. But right now I can tell you that the reports that come to us out of the Lakes region of New Hampshire are moderate snow at a half-mile visibility at Laconia, half-mile visibility and moderate snow in Concord, New Hampshire. And then once you get into Maine, you've got a little bit more of that milder air coming into play, aloft, not at the ground level. The ground's 25 degrees for surface temperature, but aloft you've had a little bit of that coming into play, and it's a lighter precipitation. So that's why Maine is checking in right now in the 20s. We can continue to take a little bit of a tour and show you a little bit more of what's going on. We'll take our view further across the north country of New England and essentially the coast of Maine. We were looking at the cams earlier, mid-coast, down east. You've got kind of a mixture that's going on, or it's totally rain at the mid-coast around Penobscot Bay. And then you're back into the snow again for ski country, not just of Vermont and New Hampshire, but stretched up through Maine as well. Now you've got snow falling steadily, fairly lightly, but steadily up across the crown of Maine, at least when you get around Holton running up to Caribou. Not so much when you get up near Madawaska. So temperatures right now, it's 14 in Madawaska, talking about northern Maine, and that's been the feed of cold air coming in. Obviously, the real story has been the fact of what we started with for this live stream, the fact that we have not seen the coastal front push out near 495. So this has kept it a wintry mix through Hanscom Air Force Base in the north end of 95. We've started to see that mix coming up on 95 from the North Shore finally. When you get right along the coastline, it's been so wet in terms of the snow in eastern Essex County out along 133 from Ipswich and Essex to Gloucester that you don't really have more than a little coating in spots. Same thing as you come up toward Newburyport, but as you make your way to Amesbury, you start to pick up a coating anyway. Notice how light the wind is. That's a really important part of this. We expected we might find a breeze out of the east and southeast that may be picking up for some folks that would be enough to drive in some of that milder air. That just simply hasn't been the case. And so that's why we've seen the continuation of wintry mix across northeastern Massachusetts. The visibility we mentioned earlier is a really great way to identify very quickly and easily where you've got your snow. Oh, I just realized the legend is still in yellows and reds. But bottom line is that, when you've got the whiter coloring, that's where you do see some of the heavier snow and the lower visibility. A little bit zoomed in view of southern New England. We've been watching that low visibility peeling back farther outside of 495. What that tells me is that even though it's snowing at Lawrence and at Hanscom right now, to have a visibility of 3 and 4 miles says that that snow is not very heavy and it's not accumulating very quickly. So really, we've started to peel that back into that sweet spot, that zone we were watching and anticipating would have the highest amounts of Route 2 and in northwestern and north central Massachusetts. Here's a predicted radar. If you're curious, as we get towards 7 p.m., the rain-snow line starts to migrate back down to the south and east. Between 7 and 10, it closes across the metro west and down in toward Boston. There's 9:45. The rain-snow line very close to the city of Boston at that point. After 10 p.m., it marches south of Boston. We end with a coating of snow coming across southeastern Mass. The Cape, probably not. But watch out when you get around Plymouth, Duxbury, Marshfield, Scituate, that we may be able to get a coating of snow and a little bit of a freeze that comes into play as well. Haven't really changed our amounts here. If you see something that stands out that you say, oh no, you've already blown it in my area, make sure you tell us. But it's funny, we're getting a lot of precipitation, but given how slowly it's accumulating inside of 495, this seems to be holding pretty steady, right? The 2 to 4 in that light blue is the expectation, 4 to 6 when you get just a little bit darker blue, 6 to 8 in the dark blue still. And that does, notice, come up and kiss. It comes very close to someplace like Haverhill. You're right over the border when you get into, Newton, New Hampshire, Danville. You're getting into it 8 to 12 inches when you come across Route 2, northwestern Massachusetts as well. Southeast New Hampshire, as soon as you start getting away from coastal Rockingham County. And then southern Vermont, we're thinking we probably tip the scale to over a foot with elevation. We might do the same thing in places like Washington, New Hampshire, and southwestern New Hampshire in the hilly terrain. And the same could be said when you get away from the coast in southern Maine. But I have to tell you, based upon what we're seeing in southern Maine, if I was to be concerned that things won't go to plan, that might be one of the spots. But admittedly, we do have 3 to 5 inches already on the ground and still have hours of snow to go. So it's possible you'll come up there. And then you can see that decrease in amounts the farther north you go, simply because you start to run out of moisture. Overnight tonight, I think these lows are probably a little bit warm. I think that we're going to end up below freezing all the way down to the South Shore. If you don't have the app yet, make sure that you grab it. It is totally free, and I think you'll love it. I hope you'll love it. It's been built by us as weather geeks. Well, I shouldn't say built by us. It has been designed by us. It was built by people with far more intelligence on app design than I. But nonetheless, I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll like it. It's totally free on the App Store and on Google Play, and it really opens the door to everything. It opens the door to sending us your reports. It opens the door also to our live streams and what have you. So I want to go back to the chat and see what we've got now for some of your questions and comments. A big part of what we're doing here is making this interactive so that we can actually be able to correspond back and forth with you, because that is the beauty of not doing TV anymore, which I loved. I had a great career, so I don't want you to ever think I'm saying anything about that except for great things. And I mean that, but this is fun. This is a chance to be able to kind of communicate. So use the chat. It's what we're doing this for, so we can get your questions, your observations. We can have conversations. Someone asked earlier about falling barometric pressure with migraines and if that was something that might happen with this storm. Somebody else was asking about a moving weekend. Someone else was asking about their kids that are on a drive and they're concerned about, right? This is a chance to do all of that. So let's see where we're at. Ann and Ashby just shoveled about 3 inches. I love it, Ann. Thanks for the update. Seabrook between 95 and Route 1 next to the Mass border. Just now switched from snow to mixed. A half inch so far. Excellent, excellent report. That is good. We need that information. Thank you. Danville, all snow. Danville, New Hampshire is not far from Seabrook. Weather-wise, though, it's kind of far sometimes, and this is one of those days. I'd be curious, John, when you see this, if you know roughly how much you got on the ground, that would be very helpful as well. Seems as though the storm is colder than expected last night. Neil, absolutely. That was one of the things that we first kind of covered in our live stream early when we came on, and we don't shy away from that. It's part of just covering weather, right? There are times that, yeah, this coastal front we thought was maybe going to march almost out to 495 or sit right at the interstate. No. Nope. The only thing that's saving us from getting blown open on snow north of Boston is the fact that milder air is coming in aloft. That is making a difference. Thank goodness from a forecast standpoint. That is making a difference. Just a typical South Shore coastal storm, says Christopher. All rain. Oh, sorry about that. You'll get yours. You'll get yours. How much has fallen in Seabrook, New Hampshire? I was just wondering that same thing, and we just got an answer. Somebody just answered that and said about a half inch so far. Good. Less than an inch in Lawrence so far. Jim, helpful. Thank you. Helpful. It's been snowing for hours, hasn't it? It's amazing. Looking out the window, you'd never think there was only an inch. This is what I'm talking about. Up in the cloud, it's not super favorable for keeping up high accumulation rates. John says, I think we got a little close to 2 inches. Could be a little off in Danville, New Hampshire. Oh, I know exactly where you are, John. Absolutely. Do you know my mom used to teach at Timberlane, as a matter of fact. So I know very well where you're at in Danville, 100%. About an inch in Lexington, came down a good clip. Now it's stopped. Oh, okay, good. Good. Stopped. I would assume by stopped, you mean it's switched to something besides snow, right? I'd imagine you still have some sort of spitting, freezing rain or sleet that's coming down. Maybe 2 inches in Salem, New Hampshire. Been going for a while. Yep. About 2 inches of heavy wet snow in Surrey, Maine. Excellent. Thank you very much. So happy to hear from Mainers. We get a lot of Mainers who jump on during our live streams. Really, I'm thrilled about that. That makes me so happy as a lifelong New Englander. We want to cover everybody, and we really think that, that it's an honor to cover everyone in every corner. So thank you very much in Surrey, Maine. Thank you to everybody who's watching from all of New England. Our app actually gets a ton of use out of Connecticut. So we don't see as many of you on this live stream all the time, but we do see a lot of you using the app out of Connecticut. And I was stunned, but what is it about? Our second most user-filled city that we have. You want to guess? Number one's Boston. Number two, by the way, is user doesn't share location, which, okay, but just so you know, like, it's hard to give you a tornado warning if you don't share your location. And number three is New York City. Yeah, New York City. It's depending on the month, 6 to 9% of the folks who are on our app, and we think that that's largely because you folks in New York, if you're watching right now, probably plan your vacations up to New England. Come hang out in Red Sox country, Patriots country. Should I not go there? All right. Yeah, I should go there. Amesbury has just a trace on the ground at Route 110 near the Merrimack River. There you go. Tracy, I love it. Do you know why I love that? Because somebody just asked us earlier about Amesbury and how it was. And so we were using cams and we were making guesses and trying to figure out exactly what seemed to be going on. And now you just gave the answer. Yet another reason why I absolutely love this interaction, because we kind of all feed off each other and we make it better for each other. Ooh, look at the expansion of pink going on now. Yep, there's more of that mix coming in where there's more sleet that's starting to come into play for us as well. That's good to hear. That's behind me, isn't it? I get confused because the monitor over there is where I can see what I'm showing you. But there it is. All right. Back to the chat, because I think we still had a couple more that were coming in, and I want to take care of you. Nuisance system, says Tracy. Agreed. Except for the areas that are in the 8 to 12. More than that. More nuisance there, I guess. Watching the snow pile up on my snowmobile. About time I get that tuned up. Mopar Nick, I love it. That is fantastic. I love the name, too. I've noticed your name before, and I'd love to know the history behind Mopar Nick, because I know about Mopar, so I'd be curious to know. But nonetheless, awesome. Snowmobiling is something Danielle and I have always wanted to do and have yet to do, so I might show up at your door one of these days. You know, if this was January, February, we'd have a lot more snow, be coming down a bigger clip. I have this gut feeling we're going to have a pretty active winter until we get to Easter. That's my opinion. All right, John, I like that. You know what? I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I think that over the next 3 weeks we see an interesting pattern, and this is a little bit, if you are a member, then you've already heard me talk about this, and thank you to our members, by the way. And if you're not a member and you want to be, membership.onedegreeoutside.com. One of the things we do is a pre-storm live stream. Another thing we do is a podcast for our Inside Track members. Anyway, the thing that we've been talking about is the fact that in this La Nina pattern, these are fast-moving, flat disturbances, particularly with the way things are set up right now with the pieces of polar vortex that keep kind of reforming across portions of Hudson Bay. So what we're doing is getting a lot of these disturbances zipping by. So if it can develop as it zips by your south, then you're in. Most of them aren't going to. Most of them are going to do just that. They're going to zip on by. They come and they go to your south, and they're flat and they're fast. That's what's going to happen this weekend. It looked at first like this weekend, ooh, might be something. No, it looks like it'll stay fast and flat. That's going to happen too, by the way. Get ready for that in the next 3 weeks, right? Which is take with a grain of salt anything beyond 3 days. Seriously, in this pattern for the next 3 weeks, take it with a grain of salt, and including from me, but I'm always going to remind you of that. I'm going to say, just remember, we're in this pattern. Take it with a grain of salt. But really, if anybody gets super excited on something from 5 or 7 days out, just understand it may happen, it may not. So this storm was one that got talked about all the way from the end of last week, right? And here we are, and it happened. But then the one for the weekend got talked about, and now it looks like it probably won't happen. So just keep that in mind, all right? Haverhill, Bradford, 2 inches of snow. No more flakes. Sounds like freezing rain now. Good. Excellent. Very important. We appreciate that. Thank you for the report. Will it turn to all rain around 128 and Route 2? When should I resalt driveway and walkways? Okay, so the answer on that is you are going to stay with this kind of mixed junk over the course of the next several hours. It's going to get heaviest between 6 and 8 p.m., 5 to 7, somewhere in that window. Let's say 6, 7 p.m. is when some of the heaviest bursts is going to come through. It'll still be a mix, but during that or toward the end of that time, it's probably going to start to go back over to mostly snow. And the problem is the temperature, as you know, at your house, right, in that area, has really been struggling just to get beyond freezing. So all that colder air still sits to the north. So what we're going to do is once the wind turns, it's already kind of come out of the northwest, but once it starts to do that out of the north at higher levels, 2,000 feet up or so, you're going to carry that cold air that's making the snow south, and you're going to go over to snow, and you're going to get down below freezing, and you're going to put a fresh coating to an inch that'll go on the ground. So the answer to your question is it's going to keep getting washed off until somewhere around 8, 9, 10, when it just flips over to snow entirely again, and then you got a couple hours before it ends, and you're going below freezing still. Okay? Hope that helped you. That's the idea. Good. All right, so I think we're caught up on the chat here. We've got the other chat that's going on off of 1degreeoutside.live. We've got 3 inches in Sterling. We've got Londonderry, New Hampshire, quarter mile in snow, 30 degrees, 3 inches in Londonderry. Good. Good. I think you're still on track. We've got you in Londonderry. I think you're right on the edge of that 6 to 8 and 8 to 12. So I think you're still on track there. We'll take a look at the map here in just a second, so you don't have to just leave it at I think we've got. Sleet, 32 degrees in Lowell, 2 inches before the changeover. All right, good. Whitman, Mass, 40 degrees, 0.26 inches of rain. Rain getting heavier on the Cape, large puddles on the road, slow traffic. Really glad, Mark, that you mentioned that, because that is one of the other things. Let me go back over and give you the radar view, is that, look, we don't talk about it as much, but the reality is that the rain causes problems, sometimes even more than the snow. And the reason is because folks know to be careful in the snow. But when we've got the rain that's coming down, you got ponding of water, that's when you get your hydroplaning issues, things of that nature. So yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that. That is going to be an issue for us in the Cape and on the South Shore. Meanwhile, farther to the north, once you hit that snow transition, it can get a little tricky too around Auburn. Worcester, we had the snow, and now it's a mix, so it's all greasy in consistency, right? And then you go farther north, and it's been snowing all the way up into central and northern New England. Just got a report. Let's see here. Got a text message from Chris Jarzinka. Let's see what he says in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. Well, he sent a picture, and it looks beautiful. Winter wonderland type stuff. 4 inches on the ground. Chris, thank you very much, and appreciate everything that you do. Thanks for keeping us posted as to what's going on. Good. Good. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll take you back down. I'm not going to linger on the Boston view too long. I'll get you over to the New England view because we know, again, a lot of you are watching from all different spots in New England. So I just want to make sure that you're feeling like you're getting covered no matter what. One thing that we may do at some point here, and I'll go ahead and let me just touch base with Danielle for a second as well, because we do have our private snow and ice clients that we take care of, and we're very proud to take care of. We sent them an update just before we came on with you, so I knew that they'd be taken care of for a while. But let's see, Danielle, if you're listening, if you just want to let me know if you've been on top of that or not, or if I should come over and we could switch spots, that'd be fine too. So you get farther to the north here, and you can see where that snow is continuing now across a lot of central and northern New England. Hi there.
But I heard my name.
I was just saying, in terms of our private partners, I may just duck out and check on some of that stuff if you want to take over here for a little bit and you want to drive. We've got.
2 seconds, I'm just sending a couple radios I have.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. WBUR stuff?
Yep.
Oh, very good. Excellent. So you can hear Danielle, I don't know if you know this already, but she provides the weather on WBUR. So if you're ever listening in the Boston area, you'll hear her there. If you listen on the Cape, we both provide weather there for 3 of your stations. So you've got Cool 102, you've got Talk 95, which we absolutely love. And then we've also got 103. So we're very happy to have all of our partners, our radio partners, the iHeart radio stations down on Cape Cod. But nonetheless, it's a good chance for us to be able to get the word out to more and more of New England on what's going on in terms of the weather. Farther to the west, again, big mix area now really starting to take over here, coming across, again, the Mass Turnpike now north of the Pike, central Worcester County. So when you come into eastern Essex County, this is one of those areas that, again, we've been looking at snow, but it hasn't been adding up all that fast. Danielle, while you've been gone, I don't know if you probably didn't because you were doing radio, but some of the reports that we've had coming in actually have been pretty promising for us overall. Londonderry, New Hampshire is at 3 inches right now. Sterling, Massachusetts is at 3 inches right now. We've got what has been on the order of about 2 to 3 inches for interior parts of northeast Massachusetts. Holden now, Bill Collins says, just went over to all sleet. Hearing of multiple accidents in the area. That's the problem with sleet, right? You always go to the ball bearings of ice that go down on the roadways. So that's kind of where we're at right now on the
Outside
latest
our
odds.
window, I'm estimating about a half an inch.
Okay.
So when I went out there, I thought there may be a little bit more,
Yeah.
but the intensity had really let up. Now it's mixing with sleet.
Good.
Heard those pellets mixing in.
Good.
So, yes.
Good. You want to drive?
Sure.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
I mean,
I'll show you on the fly.
I thought you said you didn't like my driving.
Yeah, I love you driving. You see that key right there? Look at that. You see that key? This is good, folks. You're watching it live and that key right there. Watch what happens when you do that key. You ready? There you go.
Oh, great.
All right.
Perfect.
That's it. And it's set up to be in this chair. That's why you got to sit here because it's gonna when you go to this one, here's your face.
All right.
Now, just so you know, when you've got it. Oh, what she says. All right, I'll make it easier. Hold on. Ready? Hold on. We'll turn this off. So
Everyone
now,
just needs to bear with me.
yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
all right. So here's the other thing. Ready? Hold on. Okay. So
Lessons on the fly.
if you want to change and you want to show what's on the web, just make that visible
Gotcha.
and then transition. All right?
Okay.
You with me?
Sounds good. Yeah.
We gonna do all right on this?
I mean, we're gonna find out.
I'm gonna leave the cams loaded up. You can take folks on a tour of the cams. All right?
All right.
All right. Here we go. Give her a thumbs up. Give her some support in the chat. Let's give her some support. Here we go. You ready to jump in?
Sorry, I'm just dealing with a radio thing.
No, do your job. Do your job. That's your other job. That's fine. Well, then, while Danielle deals with what she needs to deal with there, what we will do is we'll go ahead and we'll start. You think you dealt with?
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you say so. Okay.
Down from the stream, we can come back up.
That's right.
The beauty of all
That's
this.
right. This is Danielle's first time driving. This is it. Everyone's hearing the crunching of my microphone as I take it off. And
I got it. Yeah.
I got it. Don't
flip it on
my mic.
myself.
Some things don't change. You can marry it, but that's
Excuse me.
it. That's it. Get your hands off me. Get out of my way. All right. Sounds good. Have fun.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there's one client that we should. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, I'll text you. Hello, everybody. I'm not as tall as Matt. See? All right, let me come down. Let me lower this a little bit. Although the microphone should be now on my shirt too. Notice I switched into a sweater. It's a little chilly here. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. A live stream. Let me pull up the chat and I will reconnect. We appreciate everybody tuning in. All right, so I'm the little box on the side right now, right? Let's see what he was talking about. Ooh, look at that transition. That's so nice. All right, so let me try and swing you around here. And I'll pull up the graphics. Okay. So you can see the radar moving around on the screen, right? This is making Matt look so good, see? Let me close this. See, I do think it is difficult when you hop into a situation when you haven't looked at how the graphics are set up. So let's check it out here. All right, I moved it down to Connecticut and you can see that, so that's great news. All right, let's transition back over. Here I am, perfect. All right, so I was just, when I was out there doing some radio, we just got a report that there is 4 inches up in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. Thank you, Chris, for that report. Lots of reports out in Springfield, by the way, of just a mess. Slushy snowflakes, rain, and sleet in West Springfield. This was about 15 minutes ago, which you can see there on the radar, but just that the roads are horrific because, you know, a lot of times you're right. If it's just straight up snow or obviously rain, a little different scenario than when you get that wintry mix all in it as well. So let's check in. I'm going to switch over here. See what the surface observations are showing. I was just kind of looking at the fact that Boston is still sitting at 35 degrees with moderate rain. And one of my big concerns is that tonight, even where it rains, you know, most of far southern New England, southeastern Massachusetts, the temperature dropping tonight. No, it is not a flash freeze, but we will freeze up in spots. So anything untreated, I'm thinking more, you know, along the lines of driveways and sidewalks and, you know, just stepping out in your steps, that it'll be slick and a little bit icy. So I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow morning we hear some issues with that because the temperature is going to drop. So here we go. Let's zoom around in terms of the radar here. Rain over southeastern Massachusetts, but it's coming down at a pretty steady clip, moderate to heavy rain, areas of fog. So even though, you know, this is a mixed bag type of storm, right? We get a little bit of everything, but it's 45 to 50 degrees on the Cape and Islands right now. Again, wind not a big issue with this. What's interesting is Newport, Rhode Island is sitting in the mid 40s, and then just north of that in Providence, we're still in the upper 30s right now, but it is raining. Worcester is over to freezing rain. Apologies if I'm repeating some of the stuff that Matt had talked about just prior. So Worcester, some freezing rain coming down, but there's the rain, snow line, and that sleet mixing in. And I do say, even though it's showing all snow here in the Merrimack Valley, there are some sleet pellets that have been mixing in, and it is a lighter consistency. So that said, it's not accumulating in terms of some of the snowfall that's coming down. Let me show you the temperatures right now. Waterfront, right? 47 in the Vineyard in Nantucket right now. Fluffier snow coming down across most of the northern half of New England where temperatures are in the, you know, mid to upper 20s. So it is a fluffier consistency. If anyone's heard of any, you know, isolated outages or anything like that, let me know. I'm just thinking with, you know, the heavy wet nature of the snow just on the northwest side of the rain snow line, then, you know, there may be some isolated outages that do occur. Let's see. I'm going to update some of these latest amounts, and we'll try to look at the chat as well. I'm not as good at looking at the chat at the same time as Matt is, but let's check it out. Mark says rain, getting heavier on the Cape, large puddles on the road, slow traffic. Yeah, I feel like anytime we add just a little bit of rain, it can really slow things down. Sterling now 3.5 inches, variable snow rates between light and moderate. Thank you, Dave. So let me try to pull up here what I was talking about in terms of the temperatures dropping as we head through the evening, okay? So this is 4:15, and the temperature is 35 in Boston right now, so it's pretty close. I will say Lawrence is 30, so maybe a little bit on the cool side. But you notice that rain snow line
kind of dances right along 495, so pretty much where it is right now. I do think, oh, look at it, just pours 1 to 2 inches of rain on the Cape. So look at that. By 8 p.m., Boston is 32 degrees. I'm not convinced it will happen that quickly, although as soon as we shift the wind in Boston around to the, the north or northwest later on, it is a northwest wind right now, but as soon as we can drain some of that cooler air, and especially after sunset, I do think the temperature drops. So I'm going to say more of like a 10 p.m. to midnight. But then you notice the back edge of the precipitation is coming in. So, most of us off the roads at that point. But that said, back edge comes in about 2 to 4 a.m. and it is all snow. So even somewhere like, not Plymouth because you see 34 there, but some spots in the South Shore, think like Weymouth, Abington, down through Whitman, in Kingston, Providence drops to 32. So that's why I say the secondary roads, even where it's raining now, things that are untreated, if there's standing water and you're looking at your car thermometer tomorrow morning and you're like, oh, the road looks a little bit, glisteny, it definitely could be slick. I'm wondering if some spots, maybe north and west of Boston, if they have to deal with a little more cleanup into the first part of the overnight, then may have to deal with a little bit of an icy situation tomorrow morning. So that's what I was looking at in terms of temperature. Overnight tonight, most spots in far northern and western New England drop into the teens too. So skiers, I know you're loving this. The hand-drawn map that we made here, no big changes. I'm sure Matt's shown this to you, but things are verifying pretty well so far. I am maybe just slightly, I don't know if concerned is the right words, but I'm curious if the 12 inch is going to verify in as large of an area as we have here, only because, and I can go back and show you here, the back edge of the snowfall is already coming into eastern New York, right? So let's say you have, maybe 6-7 more hours to go. Maybe it's snowing in some spots 1 inch per hour, but I think a lot of the areas that are in the widespread 8 to 12 that we have on the map may end up verifying on the lower end of those totals. I'm not saying, I think someone's going to end up with a foot and locally higher totals, but I'm just wondering if the entire area ends up with that or if it's more on the lower side of that. And then northern New England, it's piling up here, less along the mid-coast of Maine. So the biggest challenge, and the thing that we've been talking about all week, is the very tight gradient in eastern Massachusetts. So it'll be interesting to see what everybody winds up with when all is said and done. And these events, an event like this, I should say, makes it pretty tricky to actually measure in an accurate way, just because you do have all types of precipitation depending on where you are. So, to officially measure in a number of areas and to have a flat board that you clear off, that's, the official way to do it. But for those that are just going outside and maybe sticking a ruler on the side, it makes it a little tricky, especially when things compact down in some of those zones where we've had sleet and freezing rain as well. All right, let's take a look at the visibility right now across southern New England. So yes, we've seen a little bit of improvement along the Mass Turnpike. That said, it's still 3/4 to a half a mile, Pittsfield, Orange, Fitchburg. So that's the worst right now in terms of driving. Route 2 corridor, outside of 495, down through the Pioneer Valley where we've had some mixing. That said, it is not fun for anybody, no matter where you're traveling right now. So hopefully, you don't have to be out on the roads. If you do right now, it's not, the worst storm you've probably ever seen. Here we go. I've fast forwarded to now. So the northern extent of this pink here, yes, some sleet mixing in, but does extend a little bit up towards like Billerica and Andover. And I'm just seeing that on the correlation coefficient. I don't know how Matt changed over to that one here on the radar loop, but again, that correlation coefficient is something we look at as meteorologists to see how uniform everything is in the cloud. And I'm looking at it on my phone right now, and it shows that, sleet mixing in when you head up towards the Merrimack Valley, near Billerica, near Acton, near Littleton, with that leading edge of the sleet mixing in. Let me see if I can pull up right now in New England. Oops. The 320 radar. There we go. And let's check in the chat, too. Let me know if you have any questions. Want anything answered here? I'm going to try to look at the chat This is the first time I'm doing this. 3 inches at 3 p.m. in Raymond, New Hampshire. Thank you, Carl. Icy mix in Hampton. Thank you, Alan. You guys are so supportive. Selena says, I feel like the snow intensity increased a bit here in Londonderry. John, I don't know if Matt said these yet, but you know, it's a matter of time when a storm's going to blow up off the New England coast. We haven't had a bombogenesis in a long time. I feel like we're due. I agree with you on that one, John. For those that don't know, bombogenesis, officially defined as a rapidly intensifying storm center, officially has to undergo 24 millibars in terms of a pressure decrease within 24 hours. So we've had some double bomb cyclones before. Daniel says sleet in Chelmsford, Mass. Switched over about an hour ago. So that's what I'm saying, Daniel. You're absolutely right. So when you zoom in the radar and it looks like it's snowing here, yes, that rain-snow line is actually, this isn't maybe necessarily the most accurate depiction because the rain-snow is up near Billerica and Tewksbury and Chelmsford and Andover as well. So right along that 495 belt is where we're seeing most of that mixing in. Now let's see if I click on these. Oh yeah, but some of these are older reports. So 1 o'clock in Tewksbury, 147, an inch of snow in Wilmington. These do populate as they come in, but this is what I was saying that, you know, sometimes, oops, right click makes it go away. Are you guys hearing me okay too? I know Matt talks in a little bit of a louder voice, so I'm just making sure. Rain and sleet mixing in Salem, New Hampshire. All right, let's flip back over here then. I'm gonna pull up Sterling, Mass. So yep, I got that. So I really think after the sun sets, which I know it's cloudy, we have precipitation, but you lose that, you know, solar radiation. 4:12, so we've got, what, less than an hour before sun officially sets. Then we're going to start to see a little more of an issue as we head throughout the evening hours. We're still going to be mixing with some sleet and plain old rain in some of the same areas that we are now. But that said, once the temperature drops, again, things are going to be freezing up through the late evening and the overnight. Interesting that it says icy. Freezing rain in Norwood, that was earlier this afternoon, not right now with plain old rain, but this is what I'm talking about. We've had, you know, some amounts that are pretty substantial over southeastern Massachusetts in terms of rainfall, and then it is going to end up icing up as we head throughout the evening. So that's one thing we'll keep a close eye on. When you think the overall scheme of things, is this a blockbuster storm? No. I mean, officially we are in meteorological winter here, but I do feel like the last couple of winters we've gotten off pretty easy, particularly in southern New England. Let's see. I'm going to try Matt's trick here. All right. Can you see the rain and snow with the cams now? Yes. So let's try zooming in. So this is a better, maybe slightly better representation of where the rain snow line is. But this is what I'm talking about. Such variable road conditions, from wet roads just with, you know, down to bare pavement. There's the gas tank, to totally snow covered when you get through the far interior, like Western Mass. Oh, that does not look fun right now. Look at that. Hatfield looks like it's down pretty much to, well, 2 lanes, but 1 lane. So definitely worse conditions through the far interior. No surprise there. The height of the storm, you know, I think we're kind of in it right now. The next few hours. And then as we head towards the late evening, the intensity will be dropping a little bit. Carl says 3 inches in Raymond, New Hampshire. Thank you, Carl. Let's see. Now I'm going to turn. All right. Any outages? Oh, I see Matt pulled up the outage list. There appears to be a few hundred people without power kind of sporadically across the state. I'm not sure if these are really storm related. It's like one customer here or there, because we aren't overly concerned with the wind with this one or anything like that. Here's a look at some of the observations where the winter storm warnings are in effect in the areas shaded in pink. If we look at, let's zoom this out. I don't know if Matt showed you this. So we're looking at the satellite imagery here of the storm and the cloud shield. Pretty substantial, pretty beautiful looking storm if you're into weather, right? Like looking at that. Some of the latest models, these images courtesy of Weather Bell, by the way, if we're getting into some of the geeky stuff, right? The 18Z run, or in other words, the afternoon run of the HRRR came in. And this was the biggest thing, right? The rain snow line setting up in eastern Massachusetts. So even some of the models right now that have come out show the highest totals north and west of Boston, but they've just had a tough time handling the temperature. A lot of the models thought, or at least different scenarios showed that east or southeast wind coming all the way into the city of Boston and bumping the temperature up into the 40s. It's 35 with moderate rain right now at Logan Airport. So yes, I'd say the next several hours are kind of the most critical time, just in terms of the intensity of the rain and the snow, some of the heaviest precipitation coming down, then flipping back over. Let me pull up the chat, see if anyone else has anything to say. The audio sounds great. Thank you so much. Glad it's sounding pretty good and we got that figured out. I have the snowfall reports loaded up from the CRH snow map online, so these will update live as well. I'm showing some of the latest observations. So we've got some 7, 8 inch amounts. This is in New York and Pennsylvania, by the way. So that's what I was talking about in terms of that 8 to 12 inch zone that we have. I wonder if most areas will end up verifying on like the 8 inch side of that. Nonetheless, a lot of like 6 to 8 inch amounts that come back through New York. The top total right now in Massachusetts appears to be 6 inches in Otis. That said, that was 2 hours ago and it's been snowing there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're up near about 8 inches now. Just because we haven't had a report that's come in from there. Vermont, we have had some reports that are in at around 6 to 8 inches too across the southern Greens. So Arlington, Vermont came in with, that was 6 inches actually early this morning. So they may be closer to 12 inches, which is where the little purple zone that we had was figured out. So let me switch back over. I'm going to close this. I'm getting the hang of this, see? All right, now I'm back on your screen. Let me close this over here and we'll give you a little tour of the live radar right now. So if you're just joining us, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. This is the beauty of 1 degree outside, right? We've got this flexibility. We can come up, we can be live with you, we can come down if we need to take a quick break, if there's not as much action going on. And we can interact with you. You can give us an idea of what's going on out there. You can give us your reports and let us know what you are seeing. You are our eyes and ears. Heavy rain right now. Let's do a little radar tour over southeastern Massachusetts with some downpours. Same extending through Rhode Island, back through the southern Connecticut area. Areas of sleet and freezing rain have been mixing in across northern and central Connecticut with snow from the northern Litchfield Hills into the Berkshires. That's where we just took a look at some of those webcams that showed you just terrible driving conditions in the western part of the Bay State. That sleet line, yes, mixing in, I'd say either side of the Mass Turnpike, but points north of that now. And even though this does show snow for places like, let's zoom in a little bit, Carlisle, Billerica, Andover, Lawrence, we do have some sleet that's been mixing in. I'm looking at the surface observations. Bedford has flipped over to rain, and it does show right on that mix line. So this should be painted a little bit farther north than it actually is right now. Raining in the city of Boston, and yes, it is all snow the farther north you go. A lot of reports coming in, though. We've had some mix when you get from the mid-coast to down East Maine, and the intensity is lighter in those areas. You are welcome, Daniel. Anyone else have any reports or questions to send in? Please let me know. Again, if you are just joining us, thanks for joining the 1 degree outside live stream. We'll take a look at current temperatures, kind of an analysis of the storm right now. Coastal front setup. Where is it set up? Whoa, look at this. 20s, 30s, 40s right here in eastern Massachusetts, right? 47 on the Vineyard in Nantucket. There's that temperature contrast. Madawaska, Maine, Presque Isle in the teens. There's that temperature spread, that clash of air, right, that's causing the precipitation. So we've got the storm center, which is down to our south and is likely to make its closest pass to Nantucket later on this evening. So this is a combination. Oh, you can kind of see the little center that came off. Actually, interestingly enough, yesterday when Matt and I were looking at some of the models for the center of the storm as it pulls away from New England, it briefly goes warm core. It looked like that the other day, and that was because it came over the Gulf Stream. So just interesting. The storm is going to be strengthening in the next few hours. Notice the back edge. This is what I was talking about. Let's see if we can get to the end here. Yep, back edge already coming through or about to come through New York, and then back up through eastern New York in the next, I'd say, about 2 hours. So 2, 4, 6, if you just think about easy math, that'll be another 4 to 6 hours. In terms of the steadiest snow coming in, now the storm center taking a track just south and east of Nantucket isn't the classic, what we call benchmark storm, right? 70-40, and that would be mainly, a classic nor'easter setup here. But the storm center is going to pass south and east of Nantucket. It's kind of being fed in by some of the northern stream energy and the moisture that was down over the Gulf, and tap the Atlantic for moisture as well. Let's talk briefly about wind. Yeah, I'm not overly concerned with it. We're gusting to 30 on Nantucket. This has been a big thing, right? The wind coming in off the ocean, that coastal front setting up. Can you see my mouse when I'm mousing over things? Yes, that's kind of nice. So you see where that almost little convergence zone happens. That's where that coastal front has set up. That being said, too, we're not talking about, extremely heavy bands of snow. We've had some moderate bursts in those areas. The farther north you go, the wind is not an issue. So that's why I said there may be a brief window where we gust 30 to 40 here as the storm makes its closest pass to Nantucket, the Cape, and the Islands. That would be around midnight tonight. Visibility right now mostly reduced where the snow is coming down, though even like on the Cape, look at 2 to 4 miles. Yeah, we get the heavy rain. We've got areas of fog. So it's not going to be fun the next few hours either. Let's take you through, let's say 6:30, right? The evening commute. Pretty much what you see is what you get. I don't think there's going to be much change at all in terms of the fact that where it's raining, where we've got sleet mixing in, it's mixing in, and the snow is coming down north and west of that rain snow line, which is going to collapse back to the coastline this evening. I'm unsure that the temperature will drop as quickly as it shows here for somewhere like Boston. I think it might take longer until about 9 or 10 p.m., but let's see. Let's see here. I'm going to plug in my phone, which is dying too, while we do this. There we go. So I think this evening, once the sun sets, like I was saying, within the next 45 minutes or so, and then this evening, as that rain snow line collapses back to the coastline, that's actually where we see a decent shot of picking up, 1 to 2 inches in that zone where we had it here, 495 to 128, and then ramping up north and west of that, because that's on the tail end, so the precipitation will be lighter intensity, but that's when we are flipping back to snow, including for Boston, including maybe some wet snowflakes. Look at that over southeastern Massachusetts, down to Cape Cod. Maybe you get a couple of pre-dawn flakes like 4 to 5 a.m. near the canal, but it shouldn't have an impact there. So look at that tomorrow morning. Yeah, waking up to sunshine, but look at the temperatures. It's chilly. And I do want to say that, you want to watch your step tomorrow morning. Icy spots, walkways, driveways, things like that. I think that's my biggest concern tomorrow morning, with not a flash freeze that comes in, but cold enough temperatures that any untreated surfaces will be a little bit slick. Now, I'm curious if I can pull in, I know we're talking storm here, but I had a question earlier about the blast, the Arctic cold front coming in. We have an Arctic front that's coming in on Thursday. Behind it, really cold. These are the overnight low temperatures anticipated on Thursday night. Sub-zero in far northern New England. This is by far the coldest blast we've had of the season so far. Widespread single digits down through the interior of southern New England, teens all the way to the south coast. This is without the wind factored in. Now the wind will ease slowly Thursday night. The Arctic front comes in Thursday afternoon and evening. And if you watched our Insights video, by the way, which is up on YouTube and on our app and on our stream, if we weren't live streaming right now, you'd be able to see it. There will be scattered snow showers and some squalls on Thursday with the Arctic front coming in. It's behind that the wind really whips up and you get this cold air coming in. So yes, overnight lows, just wanted to show you very briefly, are going to be, in the single digits and teens. The other thing I will pull in is the feels like temperature for overnight on Thursday. It is going sub-zero, probably north and west of Boston, and single digits all the way back down to the Cape. So it's a really cold blast that comes in this early in the season. Wind chill 10 to 15 below zero. That's when it's, getting to be a little bit on the tough side with frostbite and things like that in far northern New England. Highs don't rebound a whole lot during the day on Friday either, by the way. We're probably going to be stuck in the teens and 20s from north to south. So here, let me pull in the high temperatures for Friday. Just kind of giving you a little sneak peek. Look at that on Friday. The wind does ease on Friday. Obviously, with any type of cold air, any breeze makes you feel differently. So 5 to 10 miles per hour. The wind on Friday, again, eases in the morning. So about, 20 to 25 across much of New England. So the heart of the cold air comes in Thursday night, wind chill sub-zero Thursday night into Friday morning. Then we rebound into the 20s Friday afternoon. And just for an early heads up, for those of you interested, start of next week, it does look like another really cold blast of air comes in for Monday and Tuesday. Similarly, highs only in the 20s, and then wind chill values that will be maybe sub-zero with single digits and teens Monday night and again on Tuesday night. All right. Back to storm mode. I'm going to reconnect the chat over here. Let's see. And we'll take you to the radar. How about that? All right. So back to chatting. We'll take some questions right now, and I'll pull up the radar first. So if you have a question, get it in, and I will do my best to answer it. Let me show you what's going on across New England right now, and then I'll get to your questions. Boom. That was not right now. That was this morning. Here we go. This is kind of showing the past 12 hours of precipitation. All right, so there we are right now. I'm stopping things right now. And we've got a couple questions. One of them says, is there a big burst of precipitation expected in a couple of hours in Eastern Mass? Given lower than anticipated temps in and around Boston, is this burst expected to be more snow than forecast? That is a great question. And let me bring that up one more time just so I can show you my thoughts on that. I don't think it's going to be more than we forecasted, which is a coating to an inch for in and around the city of Boston. In fact, much of eastern Massachusetts. I don't think so. Famous last words, but I don't think so. And let me show you why. So if you look at this P-type, precipitation type over the coming hours, the temperatures are still in the mid to upper 30s for the city of Boston, even just, Boston proper up through Essex, eastern Essex County. Then it drops generally between 8 and 10 p.m. 10 p.m. to midnight is really when I think things could start to get a little bit sloppy again. And that's when we could see a coating to an inch on grassy surfaces or anything that's untreated, Boston proper, Metro West. So this is a minimal snow amount, but think about it. All it takes is just a little bit on untreated surfaces to make things slick and slushy and crusty, particularly as the temperature continues to drop overnight tonight. The tail end, the back edge of the precipitation of the snow should come in like 2 to 4 a.m., give or take. So it's done by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, I guess, depending on when you wake up. If you wake up at 4 a.m., you may still have some flurries around. But, so for that reason, no, I don't think it'll be a big difference. So I'm going to zoom in. Here's our New England-wide view of the accumulation map. So southern New England, nope. no big changes here. We tightened up the gradient. So Boston, Metro West, up through Lynn, down through the South Shore, yeah, coating to an inch. I do not think you'll exceed that. Now, where we have the 1 to 2, it's going to be close just in terms of the fact, will you be closer to the 1 inch or 2 inch? It's kind of splitting hairs at that point. But that tail end late this evening and overnight tonight, so put it like either side of midnight or just before that, is when you have the best shot of picking up that accumulation in this zone, if you can see my mouse on the screen. When you go to 2 to 4, by the way, and it does ramp up towards 495, right? You're generally in that zone from the southern New Hampshire seacoast back down in between 128 and 495. Now, there might be some spots in the western fringe of 495. If we can flip back over to all snow, we are mixing with some sleet in those zones currently, but I do think you end up kind of on the lower side of those totals, meaning the 4 to 6 inch zone, and then 6 to 8 and 8 to 12. And like I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, we'll see if we end up on the higher total. You know, I do think a lot of those, areas will end up seeing on the lower side of that in terms of the 8 inch zone. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. Bill says, just checked outside, still sleeting here in Holden, 1/8 of an inch on the walkway. Ooh, thanks, Bill. And yeah, that's going to be compact the snow underneath. Temperature is still at 28 degrees. Winds about 5 miles per hour. Bill is a Skywarn spotter. We appreciate your reports, Bill. And yeah, sleet's never fun to shovel, is it? Kevin says, I'm up the hill in Plastow. The snow has stopped. Why? You know what? A couple different reasons why the intensity has stopped. Kevin, let me pull up the radar for you to show you, number one, it's just a little bit lighter intensity. And because we have just a tiny bit of warm air. Now, when I say warm air, I'm talking by a degree or two, warmer above our heads. That does mean that the intensity comes down a little bit. You mixed with sleet. I do think that this radar, let me see if I can pull this up, isn't showing the best, right? So it's definitely a lighter consistency coming down right now. Let's pull up. This is the mosaic. Let me try to pull up the other radar here. But yeah, it's just light enough that it's not producing good, what we call dendrites or snow growth up inside the cloud. Does that make sense? It's a little tricky to explain, but when the temperature above our heads isn't ideal for snow growth, I'm talking about like the classic snowflake that you think of, like if you were to cut out a paper snowflake and it has that classic shape. You need a certain temperature profile to get those dendrites to form. Otherwise, they can be different shapes. They can be needles. It just doesn't form a snowflake that's, sticks well, accumulates well. So with this little bit of warm air just above our heads coming in, and that's why we've been mixing with some sleet and freezing rain in these spots. That's why the snow has stopped in these areas and is not accumulating anymore. I hope that helps for Plastow, Kevin. But I did hear the roads in Plastow aren't that great right now. If you have a snow total for Plastow for me, that would be awesome. All right, Dave checking in Florence. 4.75 inches, 3.5 was measured at 2:20. So around an inch per hour at this point, Dave. Super helpful. Thank you so much. Your next assignment is to take a picture of yourself in the snow and send it to us next time, Dave. We appreciate your reports. Thank you so much. Family in Burling, Connecticut, who have about 1/10 of an inch of ice so far, and 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of sleet. So this is the concern, right? This is in Burling, Connecticut. But we had a little snow, then we've had some sleet, and now ice. So it's really just a sloppy mess. So if you don't have to be out on the roads, I say just, don't be. All right, let's take a little tour around here. I'm going to pull up. Boop. Let's try to pull up some of the webcams again. Can you see the webcams now? Oh, there I went. Now you can. There we go. And here's some of the snowfall reports as well that you can see on your screen. I'm going to update this page. Watch this populate with snowfall totals. Great. So yeah, a lot of like 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inch amounts, some 4 to 6 when you get into western Massachusetts. Look at that 7-inch mark, but that was earlier. Oh, good, it's new actually. Just a few minutes ago. So West Wardsboro, Vermont, 7 inches. So they're in the, we had them in the 12-inch zone, and they may end up near there with a few more hours of snowfall to go in that area. So I'm just a little behind the scenes small talk here. If Matt was here, we'd probably go back and forth a little bit about it. Just the back and forth that goes on as a meteorologist, looking at so much data all the time. You know, no one is perfect, but we want to be as precise as we can. I mean, we obsess over this, right? So it's like, oh no, we're going to be a little bit on the low side for some of these towns. And then, when this, oh, Kevin. Okay, great questions coming in. But I was just going to say, we obsess over it, right? So in the beginning, it was like, are we going to be on the low side? Meaning the beginning when it started to snow. Well, then when we saw things weren't transitioning as quickly as we thought, it was like, are we going to be on the higher side because this coastal band is set up? And I think we're actually going to end up in a pretty good spot in terms of where our forecast is going to land. Claudine says, why does Templeton, Mass always seem to be in the jackpot area? Ah, Templeton, I do feel like you always are. Well, think about it. There's a few different reasons, right? You've got some elevation. You're not as close to the coastline. You're in this battle zone of you get these, the cold air draining down. That's where a lot of times we can get some mid-level, what's called frontogenesis, the good forcing to get steadier and heavier bands of snow that set up and just dump snow. Not necessarily in this scenario, but when we have, real cold air that's in place prior, you can get that fluff factor through the interior. So Claudine, are you in Templeton? Do you live in Templeton, or are you just curious about the Templeton area? Send us a picture if you've got a snowfall total for us too. But that's a little bit behind why Templeton and those zones are typically some of the jackpot areas. Kevin says, we only got about an inch or so. It didn't stop. It's actually raining now and it's 31 degrees, which does make me think the roads are going to be a little bit, tough in terms of if you have freezing rain that's coming down on top of that little bit of snow that you got. If it's untreated and the plows haven't come by and the roads aren't cleared up with the temperature dropping, it's going to be a little bit tough. So I'm almost thinking at this point we take a little bit of a break from the live stream. George said it's raining in West Acton, 2.5 inches of snow remaining. Thank you, George. We'll take a little break. I will check in with Matt and see how the private side of things are going. And then I've got a couple radio things to do, so just a little behind the scenes look here. And then maybe we'll reconvene as we get some more reports and more questions that come in and kind of give you an updated analysis as we look at some of the latest data to take us through this evening and overnight tonight. So that's, I think, the latest for now. Keep us posted. Keep your reports coming in right on our app. If you don't have it, it is free. We'd love to see your pictures and your reports. Be sure to send them our way, and we will reconvene in just a little